hopefully this time. Um, with that said, how's it going, guys? I know that normally Thursday is the Hammered Out live stream, but Hammered Out was yesterday. Uh, and then that because yesterday was obviously Thursday, obviously, guys. But today's live stream is going to be a little bit different. I know that I've been having to do more fundraisers back to back lately, and that's kind of awkward in some scenarios. But uh, situations were thrown at me earlier in the week, and this is a thing that's happening now. So, that said, first things first, how are you guys doing today? And apparently, I have given Quissa a heart attack, so I apologize for that. But it should be okay. You should survive, hopefully, at least a little bit. Quissa says that there is echo. There should not be echo. But if there is echo, I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. That's strange. But in an ideal world, hopefully you guys are doing all right. Today is another fundraiser, and I know that the last fundraiser we did was for me so that I could make sure that I could get to Faithless Forum without there being too many hiccups. This one, however, is for one of our Discord users. So, long story short, I was talking with Astral Frontier, who is one of my higher dollar patrons, and as me and him were talking, he asked me, that is my phone telling me that I forgot to turn its volume off, because I am a professional on this platform, and I very much know what I'm doing, and don't judge me. I've not made mistakes. Anywho, so I was talking with Astral Frontier, and he let me know, because I said that I was going to be holding the couple of live streams, and he said, well, we do have a Discord user who is currently dealing with a bout of homelessness, and their name is Arachne. And I said, oh, then instead of running the two fundraisers I was going to run for Faithless Forum, I'm only going to run the one, and I'm going to run the other one for Arachne then, because that is the more pertinent problem. And who in the world is calling me? Go away, please. Anywho, as a result, I got their DeviantArt information, checked their profile, and there's a little bit of a blurb on there about the situation, but I did not want to go ahead and say that entire situation on my end, because I do actually have that user in here with me right now. So, without further ado, how are you doing today, Arachne?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you. I really appreciate this.
Hey, no problem at all. So, currently, if there is any audio issue, apologies for that, but Arachne is currently doing this stream from their car, because that's one of the only places they're able to do this from, since obvious homelessness issue. Not much you can do in that situation, so here we are. But, that said, I figure what we might be able to do is get into your story a little bit so that people can know what your situation is, what you're going through, and then I guess also get into how you found my channel and how this is all going for you so far. So, where do you want to start?
Well, I think just going back on exactly what led to this point would be a good idea.
Okay.
So, it's been about 2 years now since I've gotten into this whole homeless nonsense, and how that happened was a combination of illness and ill preparedness when it came to money. I had a job at a call center back in my hometown, and I got a very, very bad migraine that was actually a symptom of some other kind of illness which was not really clarified to me by the doctor, but it
Mm-hmm.
resulted in missing over a week of work. I could barely stay conscious half the time. And when I finally was well enough to come back, I was basically told that I could keep working for a few days if I wanted to, but there was no way I'd be able to make up the time to actually avoid getting fired. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'll just find some other job. So I left, got the last bit of payment I could, and started looking, and then depression hit me like a ton of bricks, and I couldn't function. And before I knew it, I'd run out of money because I'd been using it on food and such. And when I told my mother that I was struggling with all of that, that I couldn't really get past any of the depression or anxiety or anything, she effectively told me to just deal with it. And within a few weeks, he had signed me up to join a program in a homeless shelter, and that was traumatic, to put it simply. I was treated like a prisoner. They wouldn't let me do anything. If I stepped out of line in even the slightest bit, I'd be threatened with being thrown out. They weren't clear on what I was and was not supposed to do. They weren't clear on what would and would not be the punishments, and I just was terrified to do anything because of that. And that did lead to online meeting who are now my two best friends. But prior to that, I just felt absolutely alone. I was actively engaging in self-harm. I kept doing stupid stuff like looking for places to just end stuff, and I am very glad they stopped me from that. Eventually, though, they did decide to kick me out over something as silly as not making my bed in the way they wanted me to. I'm not even joking. That led to my mom taking care of me for a little while, but then she also decided it wasn't worth it, and this is after I found a second job. So then I found my current shelter, which I have serious problems with, but it's a place to stay, and it's the closest safe area I can get to. So at this point, I stay at the shelter for $7 a night every single day, and I spend my days either at Starbucks or McDonald's or Wendy's or any other place I can get to that has a charger that I can hang out in. That's pretty much the situation up to this point.
Gotcha. Well, the first thing that I would say is the thing that strikes me as problematic about the situation is that this is one of those situations where the parents usually would help, but obviously that's not the case in here, and that sucks. I can say that I've, not for an incredibly long period of time, but me and Raziel dealt with homelessness a few years back due to a combination of circumstances where there were stressors trying to be with my parents, and we weren't able to move into a proper apartment yet, and any other area that we could possibly be in could not take us at that point. So we ended up just living out of the car for a good bit of time. So I can empathize in that I've been there. It's not a fun situation at all.
Right.
And it's a situation that is usually outside of your control. The worst part about it for me is that when I hear about your situation, that's not unlike what led to me losing my career, because it was a combination of anxiety and depression and having to be sick repeatedly that caused me to lose that, because we only had so many days, and I had to fight for, I don't know if where you are they have FMLA, where you're able to apply for a certain number of days extra outside of the allotted time that your job normally would recommend for sick time. I had to fight for my FMLA days, and couldn't actually fight for the FMLA days due to how awkward the circumstances were, and as a result ended up having to quit my job, because it was either quit or get fired, and really functionally there's really no difference between the two. So I can understand the situation. Also, as somebody who suffers from chronic migraines as well, you're checking all the boxes of these are things that I get, and they suck.
Wow.
You know, there are several days where I'm trying to work on a video or I'm trying to work on something, and I have to stop and go, like, put myself in a dark room with medication and just kind of stop existing for a little while. Otherwise, functioning is not a thing I can do. But that said, that does mean that I can empathize with the situation, and I can say that no, those are all things that would easily lead to not having a job at the moment. I do know that you were in contact with Aaron, who lives with me and is one of the moderators on our server, and they mentioned that you had a couple job interviews that were lined up today.
Yes. Or, well, that was the hope, but I still haven't heard back from them.
Fair
And
enough.
I hate to say this, but that's how I've come to expect it to go. Like, I'll put out, when I'm in full determination mode, so to speak, I'll go and get like 10 applications done a day at minimum, and the one or two I'll hear back from are things that they lied about for the qualifications, so I can't actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like, say, well, actually, my previous job is a perfect example of this, except they took me on anyway, somehow. Um, they told me that sales would not be a part of it, and that no experience in such a field would be necessary, and if there was any sales over the phone, that it would be very mild, and the top thing was customer service. During orientation, the first thing they hammered into us is that this was a sales job, first and foremost. Everything else is irrelevant.
I've had that happen before. What was the, if you don't mind me asking, what was the job?
The job was a, let's see what they call it, a customer service, not customer service associate. That was my other one. I'm getting mixed up now. Trusted something.
Was this a call center position?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The call
that
center
tends to be the case is that they'll say that, oh, you're uh this is what happened with Raziel. Her There was a job that she had as well where they said, "Oh, you're supposed to be tech support. You are tech support. Your customer service." But whenever they called, you had to upsell them, and you had to get them into different plans constantly. So they said, "No, it's customer service." When you went in, and then when you got on the floor, it was now sales.
Oh my god. This kind of thing shouldn't be acceptable in any sort of workplace, seriously, because it's like not only is it treating the person you're hiring like garbage, you're setting yourself up for a fall. Because you're hiring someone who thinks they're going to be doing something they aren't, so then they're caught completely off guard, and they may not actually have the qualifications for what you want them to do. That's pointless.
It's pointless, but usually what happens is they're trying to fill chairs and fill seats. A lot of times when you see those tax employed, the job usually has a high turnover rate. I say this as somebody who's worked in management before, so I'm not speaking out the butthole. But usually these places have a high turnover rate, so they have to do what they can to fill in the seats. It's not something that I consider ethical, but I can see why it gets done. I just don't agree with it.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's usually because they don't have the ability to fill in the armchairs, as it were, unless they go for those particular tactics. And I hate it. It's a stupid situation, but it is no less a thing that happens.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I do understand. It's still dumb.
Oh
But
yeah,
I get it.
it's definitely dumb, and it's not something that they should do. Whenever you are trying to actually get in the whatchamacallit, whenever you're actually trying to get into a job and you're trying to use your skill set, and then they ask you to employ a skill set that you don't have randomly at the last second, that makes things incredibly awkward. There's not a whole lot you can do once that situation arises, so I can understand that. Also, for anybody who is looking to donate and anybody who is looking to help out, if you can donate, then the links are in the description for that. Their Coffee link and their PayPal link are in there, as well as links to Arachne's Twitter and DeviantArt. If, for some reason, you are not able to, which is perfectly fine, nobody's trying to compel you to do anything, then the best thing you can possibly do is to copy the link in your URL bar and send it out, let other people know that, hey, there's a fundraiser going on. If they want to hop in just to listen, they can do that. And if they want to hop in and actually donate, and that's incredibly awesome and helpful. Sarah from Hyde says, Sir, someone asked where Arachne is located state-wise. Is that something that you're willing to give out, or is that something that you would prefer not get out, Arachne?
I think that itself is fine. I can't give a specific address, obviously, but I'm in Florida right now.
I am very familiar with that place. That's where I grew up.
Oh,
So
you probably are very familiar with the kind of people I'm dealing with at the shelter, then.
Yes, you are probably dealing with incredibly religious people who are borderline fundamentalists, and they're doing what they're doing not because they're good people, but because God told them to.
Oh yeah, in fact, the pastors actively discourage them from doing what they think will make them good people. Because that's not important. What's important to them is doing what God wants, regardless of whether or not it makes them a good person. So you've got stuff like this pastor that there was a trans man the guy knew
Mm-hmm.
who was apparently the son of a friend of his, who he decided in the most smug way possible, like imagine your typical Texan movie villain asshat. That's what this guy sounds
The,
like.
the the Texan movie villain that doubles as a used car salesman quite well.
Exactly. And basically, he spent the entire sermon, and these are 30 minutes each, by the way, going on and on about how he refused to acknowledge what this guy is, refused to call him by his actual name to his face, and at the end of it, gave his address. A lot of the people in the shelter are convicted criminals. Many of them are rapists.
So by doing that, you're basically doxing a person in front of a bunch of people who can and will harm them.
Yes, and if I recall, the guy in question was a minor.
Whew.
I
Yeah,
don't like
that's
these people.
and those are the type of people that you're having to deal with right now in order to have a roof over your head.
Exactly, and like they don't know about me. I'm a trans woman myself, but I'm closeted. So like no one but my brother here knows about me. And that's fine because I don't want to risk any sort of violence other than what I already get here. And I'm
I
well aware that statistically speaking, I'm less likely than a trans person of color would be to get that kind of violence. But that's still not something
that's
I'm.
there is I will say this, it is never going to be comforting whilst you are being assaulted. This is um so I grew up in Pensacola, and anybody who lives in Pensacola knows what the neighborhood of Montclair is like. It is not a safe place. That is where I grew up. The last thing that can possibly make you feel better whilst you are being physically assaulted, which has happened to me several times, is that it's statistically less likely it was going to happen to you. That's not going to cross your mind. What's going to cross your
Oh
mind
yeah,
is that you are currently being physically assaulted.
yeah, and that's like I hope this isn't TMI or anything, but that's actually happened twice since going there. It's never been like anything super extreme, but it still was like unwanted violating of my space and touching by people I don't want to touch me, stuff like that. And yeah, I had a bit of a breakdown after that. And
I would imagine so. I can't think of a way that you would have been able to avoid having a breakdown, especially if you've already got depression. Like,
yeah,
if you've already got depression and you're already prone to these things, I can't see a way in which you would not have an adverse effect to any of that stuff happening.
yeah, and like I have picked up ways to deal with the depression and anxiety and these breakdowns. And like my my two best friends, Em and Frankie. Em's asleep, but I did invite Frankie. Those two have pulled me back from the brink every single time, and I'm never going to stop being grateful to them for that. Like every time I was seriously considering hurting myself or giving up on everything or just in a downward spiral of all that, they were the ones that were there trying to snap me out of it, bring me back to it, and they have succeeded every single time. I don't know what I'd do without them.
Unfortunately, and this is me being the realist. This is not me trying to be the Debbie Downer here. But
Right?
unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that there may come a time where they can't.
Right.
Which is why that's a lot of background noise. But anyway, because the unfortunate reality of the situation is there's going to come a time where they can't pull you back, and you're either going to hit rock bottom lower than you have before, or you're going to possibly hurt yourself. It's one of the reasons why it's imperative for, if we are able to, try to get you out of the situation, because this is not a pleasant situation. obviously one of the first things that has to be done is getting you reemployed, because having income that comes in on a regular is the only way that you can actually manage any of this scenario, which
And that'll actually help in other ways too, because one of the biggest sources of stress that I've had since all this is constantly not having an income. Because if I don't have income, there's obviously the I don't eat bit, but there's
yeah.
also the I don't shelter, and there's also the I can't pay my car insurance and I can't pay my cell phone bill, and
And if you
those
can't pay
two
your car insurance and your cell phone bill, then you can't go
yeah,
and get those jobs.
exactly. They're always the top priority because of that. And now, fortunately, I do have those taken care of for this month. So if I get a job within a month, then that's not a problem anymore. But that's what I've been saying almost every day for the past year, and it has happened once or twice. But then stuff I can't control gets in the way and ends that.
Yeah.
So I was hoping third time's the charm.
Well, hopefully, my hope is this. My hope is that during the course of this stream, if possible, we can get you enough to where, and there are people who are saying things about Essence of Thought and the stream from yesterday. It's not what we're talking about here today. But that's fine. So my hope is that we can get you enough to where you can at the very least maintain the next few months without recourse. Hopefully by doing that, by at least taking care of that basic thing, that can let you focus on getting reemployed, and then once you are reemployed, getting out and getting into a safe area that's not where you are right now. Because where you are right now is not safe. Where you are right now is, it's not just not safe, it's actively detrimental to your health, because you are a person who is in a ostracized minority group of people. The trans community is not that large. It is large in that it is vocal, but it is not large in that it is incredibly large and encompassing. I'm imagining where you are, your support network is fairly small.
Right.
Which all kind of wraps up into that same problem, where you can't be you because you are trans, because you are where you are right now, and since you can't be you, you're having to take time and effort into hiding that, whilst also taking time and effort to look for jobs, while also taking time and effort to protect yourself because this is not a safe area, while also taking time and effort to deal with the mental dumb fuckery that is getting sermons telling you that you shouldn't exist.
Oh yeah. And I can tell you that the not being able to be me bit, that aggravates the dysphoria like crazy.
Oh, believe
I
me.
already have really, really bad self-esteem issues when it comes to body image.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, and I have, maybe it's a side effect of the type of server that I run on Discord and the type of channel that I have, but if you've noticed in the Discord, there is a very high proportion of trans people in our Discord. So I can understand it, even though it's not something I personally deal with. I'm, very cis, very hetero, very normative, and I'm, in some ways, I guess I'm lucky in that regard. But as a result, I can only understand the situation from the outside in. Luckily, I have a lot of examples in my friends that can help me understand the situation from the outside in. That said, Gainer has asked a question. What is your skill set in case anyone in Florida knows of any employment opportunities that we could try to secure for you?
Well, I've got about 2 years of customer service related experience. Almost all of that was spent in a call center, but it was also spent doing a desk reader type job, so sort of like a receptionist, but really downplayed from that. The only other experience I've had is working with animals to a small extent. Like, I've raised several, but I haven't actually been in a job environment with them. And other than that, I, for a few months, worked with an inventory taking company, which I'm looking into getting back with because they actually provided free hotel rooms for a few days every single week, and I could use that.
Yeah, inventory taking companies seem to be pretty good about that because they have to send you to so many places across your city or
Oh,
state.
yeah. Plus, like my problem with it when I first did it, and this is back when what was I, 25? I think no, younger than that, 22 maybe. Um, Back then, I was homesick all the time because I was a complete wallflower when it came to that sort of thing, and I didn't know what to do with myself when I was out of the house. So I don't have a house to be homesick for anymore, so that's not really an issue.
Yeah, that's a very morbid way of coming to terms with the situation, but at least it comes to terms with the situation.
Yeah, I suppose, but I have a tendency to try and, morbid or no, try and make it a little better for myself, I guess, just on the view of things. I don't like being negative, is what I'm trying to get at.
I'd imagine in your current situation, being positive is incredibly hard, and being negative does only one thing, and that is allow you to spiral downwards.
Oh, yes. That's
Yeah,
exactly why I try to avoid it.
yeah. No, I have depression as well, and the worst part about it is that all it takes is one thing to start a spiral. And
Mhm.
once you start that spiral, it's very hard to pull yourself out of it, especially without outside help. So I can understand that. Um, that said, if you can do me a favor,
Mhm.
check your coffee account and check your PayPal account and see if anything has come in during that time. See if there's
Sure.
any. Although I do have one rule: when you do so, do not say first and last names of people who have donated because there's always that chance that they do not
Oh,
want their
yeah.
first and last names coming out. So,
Definitely not. I wouldn't do that. Don't worry.
okay, I just
Yeah.
have to make certain.
Yeah, I get that. Let's see here. Oh, I have got some.
Awesome.
Okay.
So what are
Excellent.
we? So what are we looking like right now?
So far, we're up to $104.48. So thank you all very much for that.
That's definitely going to cover a few weeks of the time at the shelter at the very
Yes.
least. Sorry, I'm burping. I
No
woke
worries.
up and threw some yogurt into my mouth as a form of breakfast. Um,
I mean,
so
it's for me. I That's not quite what I eat myself since I have to have stuff that isn't perishable. But that's basically me with cup ramen lately.
that's what we did when we were dealing with homelessness. Our situation was a combination of grabbing fast food in the form of like Wendy's $4 meals, or taking cup ramen and going into the nearest gas station that had boiling water and just kind of putting it into the cup ramen and then just drinking it in the car.
Oh wow, yeah. It's like, obviously it's not amazing, but it's good for what it is, and it does the trick. It's food. It's got nutrition. It fills me up, like, and I do like it. So can't complain. I wish I didn't have to be forced into any of it.
Yeah, that's that's about how we felt during that. But I can say that the best thing you can do is find the gas stations nearby and get the water in the cup ramen. It's not the most glorious meal, but it is warm and it does fill the stomach.
Right, exactly. Plus, it does help that there's some good dollar stores around here.
Fair.
Um,
That
let's see. I
is
think one of
very
them
fair.
has like a six pack for just $1, and that's a lifesaver. That's a week's worth of meals at least.
Yeah, especially given the current situation.
Yep.
Rob Plutonium says, "Is there a place we can donate?" There are two places you can donate. The easiest one is going to be PayPal. I can go ahead and link that once more, real quick. All of your donations go through PayPal. There's also a coffee account. Did you check the coffee account to see if anything went through there? I doubt it has. Most
Oh,
people.
it's linked to the same thing as the PayPal.
Okay.
The difference is that, from what I understand, if you donate through PayPal, that requires a fee from you when you're donating, but Coffee does not. Coffee instead takes a fee out of what I get, so I generally prefer to share that one over PayPal. because then I'm the one losing stuff and the person trying to help me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, whatever's more convenient for them in any way. No pressure whatsoever.
Ugh. So that whenever I've done streams like this, I've almost always used the PayPal links. So that's probably just going to be the easiest one. Even Skywise just pointed out that they would prefer the PayPal one themselves.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's just it seems to be an easier one for everyone. And then Rob Plutonium says, can I get the coffee link? Yep, I can go ahead and share that one as well. The coffee link is here. When you guys want the links, just let me know. But they are also in the description right below the video, so you can just click on that, and you can find their DeviantArt, their PayPal, everything that's in there. This just kind of goes into the same usual shtick of I seem to attract artists on my channel, which is weird, but not so weird that I have any problems with that. Speaking of that, I do need to check the fan art section because there's always that chance. Okay, cool. We have not had anything come in so far. I have to make sure that there's not any fan art in there right now, because any fan art that comes in during the course of a live stream, I do have to put up and throw in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's just my. I know that anytime an artist is taking any time to put effort into something that's about the channel, I try to make sure that I've got everything in there set up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't draw myself. Like, the only sort of design thing I seem to be capable of is using those online doll makers, if you've ever seen those before.
Yes.
But I do write a lot. I keep trying to write novels, but I don't seem to have the stamina for it. I just sort of run out of steam after the second chapter consistently. So I'm just sticking with short stories for now.
Spare. Yeah, I said spare. Fair enough. Gainer asked in the chat, do you take commissions for stories?
That's something I've been wanting to look into. I actually do want to do that if I can. I just don't know how it works.
Typically, commissions are done by you choose between one or two things. You either have a price per word count, so you have like a flat price per 100 words, or you have a price based on amount of time that it takes. So you work at a per hour rate that you set for yourself. Whichever one works best for you. Usually, this is luckily the industry of doing stuff like this on your own and freelance is something that I'm somewhat familiar with because I know a lot of freelancers. But that said, we are at 32 minutes so far, so I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and open up the stream a little bit. For those who are in the Discord, I do have the stream channel open. Currently, it should allow for about 5 users, and then if you guys behave yourselves, I might be able to do it with more users. But that way, some more people can come in, talk to Arachne, ask them their questions live instead of just in the live chat. So, hopefully, that can also flesh out the situation a bit.
Oh, Tracy.
Hey.
Okay, this is Tracy. She's my girlfriend.
Awesome.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
So I see that we've got them in, and we've got Gainer in as well. How's it going, Gainer?
Not too bad. I'm terribly sorry, Arachne, for the situation that you're in right now.
I will say that there does seem to be a little bit of echo coming in from Tracy's Discord.
Oh, sorry. I can go get headphones.
That would be, if possible, that would be best.
Okay, no worries.
All right, awesome. And then I see we've got Namiel in here as well. How's it going?
I win. I made it in before anyone else.
Fair enough.
It was last spot open. Oh.
Yes, it was the last spot open for the time being. If everybody's behaved, then I'll probably open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, if you ever come to California, let me know. And anytime soon. Like I said, we're so desperate for people. It's funny.
Got it.
We're doing a remodel right now there, and they were supposed to hire about 30, 40 people. We got 7.
Oh, wow. That's... we have what is this thing even supposed to be? There's like a skeleton building under construction over here right now, and they started work on it, and it just stopped, and it's been like that for months. And apparently, the construction crew just up and left, and that was it.
That's weird.
Yeah. But as far as traveling goes, I meant to say this earlier, especially now that she's here now. Me and Tracy actually have a plan that once I get hired and am able to start saving up money, the plan is to help me get a visa to go to New Zealand so I can move in with her.
New Zealand,
nice.
New Zealand is much better for trying to work off of lower incomes because they do have a universal income.
Cool.
I say this because I am currently dating somebody from New Zealand as well. Gaelic Knox, who is the channel artist on the channel, is one of my 2 girlfriends, and she is in New Zealand. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked to her earlier this morning. She's really nice.
Is that kind of like the universal pay rate thing they're talking about doing if robots take over all the main jobs? Is that kind of like that?
It's not just a robots thing. There are also some politicians who are looking forward to it.
What I mean is that the same type of thing, though, where it's universal, everyone's getting paid a specific amount, and if they would get a job to earn more money or be able to go to school or whatever and still have money to live off of and put back into the economy.
Yes, basically, universal pay rate
That's
is
amazing.
you get a certain amount, which is not enough to live on, but it is enough to afford food, and it's enough to afford shelter in some situations. It's not a comfortable salary by any measure, but it is enough for you to function off of whilst also looking for other employment, unlike what we have currently in the U.S., where if you are not employed, you are thrown out to the wolves and consumed.
Yeah. Now, we have a pretty big homeless problem in the area I live in, too. It's pretty messed up. Like, we have the Salinas River going, well, I don't know if you can really call it a river right now, going through the town, and a lot of them would go and sleep down there, and they started doing this whole thing where, oh, we need you all to leave because we're cleaning up the river, but then not letting them back afterwards, and basically as a way to try to get all the homeless people out of town, which is honestly just really messed up. Instead of helping them, they're trying to get rid of them or hide them or whatever.
Yeah, I forget what his name was, but there was a politician who tried pushing, I can't remember what state it was either, this was years ago, they tried pushing for having spikes put on like park benches at night, that way homeless people could not sleep on them.
That seems like a lot of work.
It seems like a lot of work just to kick people that are already down, basically.
I guess it would be more jobs. But
that's one of those.
They'd have to pay someone to do that, but still, it's dumb.
Yeah, that's. I wish I could.
Seems like a waste of resources.
I'm gonna look that up real quick so I can find it. But hold on.
And if you hear me typing, I apologize. I'm playing 14 at the moment also and talking to a party member, so if you hear typing, that's why. I tend to type loud.
Fair enough. Yep. Okay, so let's see here. It's not just the spikes things. You know the park benches that have the armrests in the middle of them? Yeah, those armrests are there specifically so that people can't sleep on them.
I think I've heard of that actually, but I don't know if we have that around here.
There's also those bus stop seats where they're not actually seats, they're just like a weird slope thing you can lean against.
Yeah, same thing.
We also had a soup kitchen in town that I even used to go eat at because it was free food, so it saved money. Good people, the people, fun to talk to people, and we weren't homeless or anything, but we definitely were a bit. This was when I was still living off of SSI, and at the time boyfriend didn't have a job, so we were basically just living off of my SSI. Well, we lived in his mom's house, so he didn't have to pay anything really, so I guess. Anyways, point being, someone decided it would be a good idea to go and take a dump on the grass in front as a statement.
Oh,
and
dear.
the church that it was hosted in, because it was ran by a separate group that the church allowed them to be in, said nope, not anymore. So that a lot of people that actually needed that too. It just sucks when people ruin things for the people that need it too.
Yep, I've also put something in the not the description, but in the actual stream. This is one of the examples of the anti-homelessness spikes that are used. So one of the few places that like you could crawl up into at night at a business. I get that it's private property, but at the same time, this is an example of kicking people when they're down as well. Is these spikes that are here? If you're looking at the stream itself, you can see them there. That's one of the examples.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like what they do for pigeons.
Yep, and then, here's another one. The benches that are built at an incline, which doesn't do anything to help the comfort of the bench. It just prevents people from sleeping on the bench as well. That is another thing. And then, what is another one? This is just going to turn into a... what is it? This is basically just going to turn into a these are the ways in which our country hates homeless people type of situation, which sucks. But here's another one.
I mean,
here's
there
another.
definitely are some people that do it to themselves. My husband's mom actually did get herself evicted because of some very illegal stuff she was selling out of her house.
True, but the problem
that
is
we were living in
that
at the time.
problem is that in a lot of cases.
It isn't. Like I said, I did talk to a lot of the people there, and I know a lot of them just... Well, it's California. The biggest issue is being able to afford it. Like,
yeah.
From what I understand, doing the math, my husband did the math, you'd need to, as a single person, if you're living in like an apartment by yourself, you'd have to be making full-time $29 an hour to be able to actually live off of, to afford like rent, food, utilities. And that's ridiculous.
Oh, and here's another fun one as well.
Sorry if I'm controlling the talking. I don't mean to.
It's okay. Here's another fun example. So apparently, there was a person who slept in front of a Tim Hortons at Victoria and Dundas Streets, and police asked him to move his sleeping, so it's not a place where it was illegal to sleep there. They asked him to move his sleeping across the way so that these planters could be installed, and the only thing is that the area where they asked him to move to is the one that doesn't actually have any shelter from rain or wind. So, yay. That's fun. United States.
You know, one of the things regarding shelter here and the pastors themselves is that they insist that when we pay that $7 fee to get inside, we're not paying for food and shelter. We're paying to hear the word of God.
Yeah. That's Matt Dillon.
What?
Yeah, they're selling us sermons that I don't want. I just want a place to sleep safely.
That's...
And, like, going by that, you would think it'd be, okay, well, I don't want to attend the chapel service, so can I please just get room and board for free, since that's not what I'm paying for? But no, it's mandatory. If you stay there for dinner or longer, then you have to attend the chapel service, even if you have a disability that makes doing so extremely difficult or even impossible. More than once, I've seen someone have a seizure of some kind and fall on the ground, and they did not call an ambulance for him. Instead, they just carried on because, no, that would be distracting from the will of God. And clearly that was a test sent by the devil.
Did they know the person had a... I mean, was it a first-time thing, or was it the person actually have a history of seizures?
I believe it was that person's first time ever being in the shelter.
Wait, they don't ask for any medical or to make sure of stuff like that?
They do, but only because they are required to by law.
Meaning they probably didn't actually care or listen or anything.
Yep. They even had a survey recently, and the only reason they had the survey is because they were required to, asking the individual people whether or not they would prefer it to be neutral or religious. And yeah, I answered neutral, but no, that's not going to make a difference. That was months ago, and it's still happening. Granted, it's like I'm probably one of maybe 5 people in that entire place that doesn't want those. So, whatever, I guess.
Or it could be they were just wanting to see and didn't actually care enough to change it.
Well, it's the unfortunate side effect of being in Florida. Florida's a couple things. One, it's a military hub. Like there's a huge set of military personnel in various parts of Florida. That's not a bad thing in and of itself. However, because it's both a military hub and also a highly religious hub, especially Pensacola. Like Pensacola and Crescio are both cities that are like part and parcel religion and military. Like that's it. That's what those two places are. Religion, military, and for Pensacola also tourism. When you have that combination, you get a bunch of people who, if you do not agree with their views 100%, you are now anti-American to them. And you can't communicate anything to them as a result, and it sucks. But that was my experience when I was growing up there.
God. Like, and here's the thing that, for me, pretty much drove the nail into the coffin. I was Christian when I came to this shelter originally, and I still do have some spiritual beliefs, but I officially am completely no religion on my regard now. That's a word salad, I apologize. I mean to say, if I qualify as anything, it's probably spiritual but not religious, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, I've got some things I believe in, and I just leave it at that. I don't try to make it part of a big organization or force it on others, because I'm still trying to figure it out myself anyway. I don't have any place saying I know any of it.
I mean, that's kind of part of being human, let's be honest.
Exactly, yeah. But that's beside the point. The thing is, I was a very devout Christian when I went there, and then it took about a week of actually stopping to read the Bible to pass the time while they kept going on. Because I started with the Old Testament, naturally, and this is of course the King James Version, which is according to them the only one that is real at all, without any shadow of a doubt, despite the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, that was made as a vanity piece for someone that wanted to hear what he wanted to hear.
Yeah, it's one of the worst translations of the Bible.
I thought so. There's a place called Sheol that is always translated as hell in that version, despite being a completely different place.
Sheol means the grave. It just means the grave. It's you can kinda construe it into meaning the underworld in some variety, but just in general, Sheol just means the grave. So, no, when somebody tries to tell me that hell is in the Old Testament, I'm just like, no, Sheol's in the Old Testament, and that's not hell.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, from what I was reading, because I was looking it up the other day, because someone mentioned it to me, because I was asking about a lot of Judaism-related questions, and they mentioned that, and yeah, I looked it up. It's literally everyone goes there.
Yeah, everyone goes to the grave.
Regardless of what, well, something about shades and stuff too, wandering or something, but
there's a lot of interesting lore in the Judaistic version of events as opposed to just going into the New Testament version.
Something I want to look a bit more into, the Sephiroth, which is like the tree of God or something, apparently.
Which is not as good as the Sephiroth, who's probably tried to destroy the world with a meteor.
Well, there's also Sephiroth from Final Fantasy XIV, which is what made me look him up, because I know that pretty much everything in these games is based on some mythology somewhere.
Yes.
And then we can go to Tales of the Abyss and look at the Sephiroth trees.
Tales of the Abyss was good.
Sephiroth trees was in that? I still never got to play that one.
In Tales of the Abyss, there's a point where you end up going under the world, and you find a lot of, we'll just say weird stuff down there.
It's the Abyss.
Yes. But Tales of the Abyss is if you have not played Tales of the Abyss, this is my shout out to play that game.
It's actually one of my favorite games.
I had it on the, what was it, DS or 3DS, whichever it was,
It was on
and then I
3DS.
think I sold it because I was like, you know what, I want to play it on the PS2 version, and then couldn't find either later on and regretted selling the DS version. So I still haven't been able to find it because of that, sadly.
Yeah, it's rare here too.
Even
But,
and I were talking about this game recently, actually. I absolutely love it. The pacing at some points is like atrocious, but everything else is just wonderful and more than made up for me.
my favorite's still gotta be Tales of Symphonia.
Oh yeah,
Oh, same.
Symphonia is like a fan favorite.
Although the voice acting on there could have been better.
Yeah.
Let's
Actually,
be
the
honest.
voice acting in all Tales games could have been better in English.
The voice acting for Tales games, unfortunately, suffers from the age, because Tales was most popular during the PS2 GameCube era. That's when most of the more popular Tales games came out. 'Cause that's when
Really?
business.
The newer ones are pretty awesome. Like, I'm really
I didn't.
enjoyed.
I didn't say if they're.
can't
I
remember
didn't
which-
say awesome. I said
Sure.
popular.
Ah. Yeah, well, I
Um,
think it's because a lot of people don't even know the series exists, from what I've seen.
True, because you have to think in the GameCube era, Tales of Symphonia was one of the only RPGs to grace that system. So
And-
any RPG was something that people just chomped at the bit for, and then Abyss coming out very close to it on the PS2. People would end up branching out and trying to say, "Hey, I want to play this as well." But unfortunately, during that era, one of the only examples of a good dub in anything that was anime inspired was Cowboy Bebop. So, like nowadays we actually have some pretty good examples of how to actually make a dub work and how to do it correctly, because now we've got things like we've got Full Metal Alchemist we can look at. You've got Cowboy Bebop we can look at. Compare how Dragon Ball is dubbed now to how it was dubbed when it first came out. It's the same cast, but it's like they're two different shows.
Oh, it varies night
I think
and
they,
day.
they got used to the role, I guess. One show that's more modern that I cannot stand in English, like, I felt like my ears were going to explode. It's not anime, but if you've ever seen Wakfu,
I have not.
I can't stand the English dub. Like, it is so bad. Like, literally, there'll be times where they should be screaming and the characters go, ah! I'm just
I
like,
will say there is one show that
what?
is drastically improved in its dub, and that is Ghost Stories.
Yeah, I saw someone mention Ghost Stories and
Ghost Stories is how you do a dub right, whilst also doing every possible thing wrong at the same time, and it's perfect for that. That said, I did want to move this back towards Arachne again, if possible.
Can I say one more thing real fast, then?
Absolutely not. I'm kidding. You can go ahead.
About Wakfu, if you do get the chance, it is on Netflix for anyone that I definitely recommend it. Just do not watch it with dubs. But it's a French cartoon
Ooh.
and based off of a MMORPG, or I think it was like a strategy MMORPG or something. I played it a little, but
Wait, I think
yeah,
I
it's pretty
played-
interesting.
Oh wow, that. Now that you put in that, or where it came from, that name is sounding very familiar. I played as like a scarecrow-looking thing, I think.
Possibly. They had some very interesting classes. Yeah, it was a tactical turn-based MMORPG.
Interesting.
Actually, I think it's still around. But yeah.
Okay. That said, to move it back onto Arachne, if you can do me a favor and check in the PayPal one more time and see
Alrighty.
where we are sitting on there, just so I know, because I don't have a counter or anything to work with, so I'm just having to do this by ear.
Yeah, gotcha. No worries. We're up to $117.09. Thank you very much.
All right,
That's
awesome. That at least covers a few days in the shelter, at the very least, which is not
Oh yeah.
amazing, but it is better than when you walked in, I imagine.
And like, I don't remember if this is an actual old adage or not, but even ripples make a wave. So, any
True.
last bit I need.
And I posted the stream on my Facebook too, so hopefully maybe some friends of mine or something that are free can come watch and help out too. That's
Thank
the
you
most
very
I can help out right now, I think.
I gotcha.
Hopefully. if anybody, if you are watching the stream and you do want to help and you can't donate, then like I said before, and I'll say it again, please go ahead and share this out on your social media. That way we can try to help out Arachne. This is never a situation anyone wants to find themselves in, where they are having to rely on others for help, or where they're in a situation where they feel like they can't help themselves. So hopefully we can try to do something to help. I know that $100 isn't a whole lot, but it is something, and I'm incredibly thankful that you guys have been able to pull that through so far. So,
Yes, very much.
Ideally, we should be able to get more. Also, I am going to go ahead and increase our user limit to 7, so there are 2 spots available if anybody else wants to hop in the live stream and ask Arachne any questions.
Before it delves into complete chaos, Arachne, so what kind of genre do you write about in your DeviantArt?
Oh, well, I mostly like surrealism stuff, but I also tend to... Oh, someone I know just got in here, sorry. Okay, so yeah, it's like surrealism stuff as well as metaphysical kind of settings. A lot of my stories are all tied in with this bigger canon that takes place in this realm that has 26 layers of existence to it. And that sounds like a lot, but the truth is it's more, that's how I'm able to have so many genres at once. So like all my dark fantasy goes in one thing, all my typical fantasy goes in another, slice of life goes in another still, urban fantasy goes in something else, science fiction might go together with that sort of thing. The ones I have so far, though, is a creation myth kind of thing, as well as some attempts at horror stories. I don't know if they're that successful at being frightening or not, but they're there.
Well, I know you were saying earlier that you were having difficulty writing a novel, but it sounds like you've created your own mini universe.
Yeah,
together.
but that's the thing. When I try to actually put it into an extended work, I get about 2 chapters done, and then suddenly it's just, the steam behind it all is just gone. And I don't know if that's me genuinely running out of ideas for what I want to do, even though I already know how I want it to end, or if that's the depression kicking on, or what.
It could be a combination of those things. There's also a when you're doing more long form stories, you also generally want to have a map set out of like your major events, and then all you're doing when you're writing your chapters is fleshing out your details.
Oh.
That usually helps out a lot. If you're doing the entire thing blind, we'll get to the point where you're overwhelmed. I have a friend who's been a good friend of mine for about 15 years now, but they're a published author, and this was one of the things that they told me that they needed to do in order to write and being able to continually write, is they have to basically write out their whole story on, a couple sheets of paper, on a map almost, and then when they're writing their chapters, they're just following that map and just fleshing out the details to follow their map.
Oh, okay. So...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no worries. So I was just going to say, like, going by that, if I start, like, trying to make flowcharts or something, that might even help.
Yes,
At the very least, give me some focus.
a flowchart would definitely help out a lot with this. The only difference is that there would be fewer if-else statements and more just general algorithmic stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Something you could also do, though, with the short stories is you could always make a collection. Like, I actually just bought one recently by Larry Niven. That's a collection of short stories. And the main thing is The Magic Goes Away is what it's called. I haven't read it yet, but that's what it is, a collection of stories that all have to do with usually the same universe and such. I could be wrong, but usually they're all related stories.
There's also there's a format you can do as well that allows you to write only short stories, but it ends up a novel at the end. Have you ever read World War Z?
I've heard that name before, but I haven't read it.
It's a movie, I believe, also.
It's do not speak those words in this house. No. No. Even the author of the book wants that movie to burn in hell.
It's not as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution.
No.
That's a very, very, very low bar to set.
Yeah. If your bar for quality is better than Dragon Ball Evolution, then listening to a sermon by the Mormon Church has now become quality. So let's not.
Dragon Ball
Okay, what about Aragon?
Dragon Ball
Or
Evolution.
Avatar, the
Like
Last Airbender.
none of that matters for what I'm trying to say. That's tangential and it's derailing.
Sorry.
So what World War Z is, the protagonist of World War Z is an interviewer. He's a news reporter, he functions as a news reporter. For the purpose of the story, he's less news reporter and more government worker. But for the function of the story, he's basically a news reporter. And he interviews various people that had some role, be it large or small, during the course of the zombie apocalypse that takes place during the story of World War Z. In the first chapter, he talks to the doctor who initiated contact with Patient Zero in the village that he first was in. By like 6 chapters in, he's talking to the person that tried peddling a fake vaccine for the zombie virus. 15 chapters in, he's talking to the person who lamented that the Air Force didn't have a job anymore during the course of this because an airplane bomber doesn't do a whole lot to a bunch of corpses. You want to have just helivac. That's the only thing that you really care about when you're in that type of combat situation. And it's literally just each chapter is one person's story about what they went through, and it creates an entire narrative so that you have a scope of understanding. This is what every person from every walk of life dealt with in this one situation. Sometimes he's talking about people who are really important. Sometimes he's interviewing just a mother who lost her child. There's one point where he interviews a girl with autism, who, even though she's like 22, she's very heavy non-functioning. And so she has essentially at that point the mind of a child. And when he's doing the interview with her, she's actually, I don't think it was that she had autism. I think it was that she had a TBI, and the TBI stopped her from progressing. So even though she's an adult, when he interviews her, she can only give you the scenario through the eyes of a child because she can only communicate in the way a child can. So you end up getting that perspective as well. And he literally just goes through every possible perspective he can think of to paint you what this war was like. And then by the end, he gets to modern day and just shows like, this is where the world is now. We have steps to go forward, and that's it. And it's essentially a series of short stories, but it's constructed in a way where it is all one major narrative. That might be something you might want to try to do, because if the issue is that you can only write the short stories right now, putting them all in the same universe, describing a series of events over the course of a couple years might work out.
Oh. Yeah, having heard all this, I think I'm going to do exactly that. Originally, they were just very loosely connected, but thinking about it, just having them in some sort of direct line, even if it's skewed, I think that would actually help me out better there, so that works. But other than just literature, I'm also trying constantly to make some RPGs to add to it. I do have one in the works called Heart and Decline right now, which it's on VX Ace, I think. That one is actually critically important to the backstory of everything I have so far. But at the same time, it's not going to make much sense unless you're one of my friends who've heard about the characters already. So I'm eager to see what the reaction to that is if I ever actually finish it.
Fair enough. I also see that we've got Drake and Skylos in here now.
Hello.
Yeah,
I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, but you've been quiet, so as far as the stream's concerned, you just got here.
I know. Yeah, well, I mean, I tried to talk a little bit earlier, but like 2 people talk at once. I guess I got drowned out.
Yes, you were drowned. You were drowned in Mega Milk.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry, I just saw the stream 1 hour in, so I don't really know what the problem is with Arachne.
Well, Arachne, you can go ahead and give the long story short. This is yours.
Oh, the long story short of my story?
Yes.
Yeah,
What
please.
happened? Oh, okay. So yeah, I've been homeless for 2 years. I am a closeted trans girl. I am not able to do much of anything to be myself or anything, but I also am constantly looking for work and having absolutely no luck with that. However, I'm actively still looking now, and the plan is to get employment as soon as possible so that I can work on not only saving enough to move, but work on getting a visa so I can move to New Zealand and move in with my girlfriend there. And until that point, pretty much what I'm needing help with is money for food, shelter, and bills.
Okay, thanks for telling me. Also, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good luck. I would donate, but all my I went broke after donating in the last stream. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
That is perfectly fine.
Yeah, no worries at all.
It's actually kind of fun. Like the other day, I looked at my bank account. I'm like, wait, where did all the money go? And I was like, oh yeah, there was a.
Oh God, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
actually,
continue.
oh sorry, I was just gonna say I have really bad anxiety checking my bank account precisely because of that.
Yeah, same. I don't like checking my bank account. I only checked it because I tried to buy a retro Game Boy retro thingy, Majiggery, and the purchase didn't go through, so I had to check the bank account. Then that's literally the only reason I checked.
Fair. I've definitely had situations where I've known this obviously not the situation right now because the money situation right now is a lot tighter, which sucks. But there have been times in the past where I knew that I had plenty of money in my account, so as a result, I would actively not check it because I didn't want to see. I didn't want to know how close I was getting to where I'd have to panic.
Oh, yeah,
I would just go I know it's happening.
My favorite times are always when I think I have very little money in my account, I just check it to make sure how close am I to zero, and then I'll just check and it's wait, I have $200 more than I thought I had. What the heck? Those are the good days. Those are good days. I don't get those days anymore.
Unfortunately, I need to take off, so there will be one more spot open for a person to jump in. Arachne, pleasure to meet you, and I wish you the best.
Likewise, thank you very much.
Take care, everyone.
Apparently, as of a minute ago, Jack, or Jackie, as they are now sitting in the chat, has made a donation on behalf of Sugar.
Oh.
Yep.
Apparently so. I'm uncertain as to the context of that, but go ahead and check your PayPal.
He's doubting.
We are currently up to $250.47. Thank you very much for that.
Awesome. That definitely helps out a lot then. Yes. That is double where we were, 10 minutes ago?
Oh, yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there a way to donate without PayPal or coffee for someone who does not have any kind of that, other than, I guess, unless you count Facebook?
I'm honestly not sure. My friends and I did try to look for alternative methods in case something happened that they would need to, because for some reason, one of my friends' PayPal's just up and decided to not let them use it anymore. They claimed it was for suspicious activity, but she wasn't doing anything wrong. So she wasn't able to help me out anymore, and we were looking into alternative methods, and if there are any, we could not find any with us.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, that's it.
Oh, basically, I was saying something where I wouldn't have to, make an account for it and do a bunch of stuff, and my husband's basically doesn't want me connecting something to a bank account that I'm probably going to use only one time, so.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think you're required to have an account for coffee. You can just check out as a guest.
Really?
I think
that's.
I think that too. Actually, I don't remember. It was a while ago since I used coffee, but I think that's the case.
If someone could find out for me, that'd be awesome then, because I don't want to make the account and then find out I do have to do that in the middle of it. I'll be honest, I'm lazy and I'm in the middle of a dungeon on 14 right now too, so.
I don't have an account on Coffee, but I can still donate.
I just started to think about a thing randomly that it doesn't have anything to do with anything, but back when like Dragon Ball Evolution, I think was mentioned.
Oh,
I-
No.
Why are we
No,
talking
like,
about
no,
this
no.
again?
No, like there's a funny story about this. Like, apparently, it was so bad that the writer of Dragon Ball went out of retirement and started to write Dragon Ball.
yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. I think GT was also another reason. It was kind of because he didn't realize how popular it still was.
Oh no, he realized. Akira Toriyama
That's
knew.
what I mean. He didn't know it.
Yep.
He didn't realize it was still so popular, and that when he did realize it, he.
Like he didn't like how
Started
bad it
again.
was, so it just went, okay, I'm gonna write one more story just to fix that mess, and just like, okay, let's write another story and another, and it just went.
Well, I think it was also to fix GT.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing, and I have unfortunate news for everybody who hates GT, me included, by the way. Super takes place in between the 10 years between DBZ and GT, which means GT is
GT
still
is
canon. GT is
I believe Akira
GT is-
Toriyama did something that made it so that it was not.
no, he has
Something-
not done
Well, I'm
anything
pretty
to
sure
make it
he
not
even
canon yet.
Pretty sure he even stated it's not canon.
He can state that, but the situation as it is currently is that
The
we
fandom doesn't give a fuck.
yeah,
He did something basically where Super Saiyan 4 made no sense.
no.
Didn't exist, if I remember correctly.
He has made it so that Super Saiyan 4 makes more sense now because of the Broly movie. In the Broly movie, which is canon, the new one is
He
canon.
doesn't.
I'm going to finish my sentence now. In the Broly movie that is canon, he specifically pointed out that the way that Broly's Super Saiyan form works is that it channels the power of the Azaru without having him actually do the transformation, which is exactly how Super Saiyan 4 functions, which means we now have a person
Okay.
who's able to use the same mechanics of Super Saiyan 4, which means that we are one step closer to that being a thing in that show, whether we want it or not.
Could have
Oh, no.
sworn that was supposed to be the something to do with the Super Saiyan Berserker, but not quite the same as the one that was during the. My brain doesn't want to work during the tournament.
Super Saiyan Rage, and you're talking about the one that Keffa or Khalifa? I can't remember which one it was. Khalifa. The transformation that they have. Broly's transformation and that one are the same. The only difference that I can tell between the two, outside of the fact that Broly does have his tail and she did not, is that Broly doesn't have his tail. No, Broly doesn't have his tail anymore. That's right. His daddy ripped it out. Forgot about that. The difference between the two, though, seems to be that Broly is a more adaptive fighter, and as a result, he's gained a lot of power during... Like, he gained power during the fight before turning Super Saiyan. He became more threatening as that fight went.
That's what I was saying, is that was technically a different transfer. Did he even really? I don't know if he really transformed. I still think it's dumb that they made her look like Broly from the original movies. That I didn't understand.
It was because they wanted a way to make that transformation canon without introducing Broly into the show. And then they realized that they just wanted to have Broly in the show as well. Their transformations are the same. The difference is the person.
But the fact she literally looked like Broly, and I just thought that was really weird. My personal opinion on it just looked weird.
It can look weird, but if you think about it, Goku and Vegeta get a very similar... Like, Goku's hairdo and Vegeta's hairdo start looking very similar when they go Super Saiyan, so it's not...
Her whole body change?
Her whole body went buff. It went in the very buff mode, but that's the same thing that happened with Broly's body as well, because Broly in Super Saiyan mode and Broly in not Super Saiyan mode... Not Super Saiyan Broly looks petite by comparison.
I guess that's true.
Can I say my favorite thing on Dragon Ball Evolution?
That it makes good Tinder.
I was thinking the apology letter, the public apology the director made, where he literally ended it by saying, "In the end, I guess I dropped the Dragon Ball."
That is definitely amazing. Because I'm sorry,
Oh.
but evolution.
My favorite thing. Oh, sorry.
No, you go on.
My favorite thing about it was how I even signed it. There was a petition before it actually came out to prevent it from being finished. That was my favorite thing about Dragon Ball Evolution. It's just sad that it didn't go. It didn't. I'm pretty sure it got more than enough signatures.
If your favorite
But-
thing about a show is that you attempted to stop it from happening, mayhap that show was a mistake.
Yeah.
And my
Or-
favorite thing about it was that it
Oh, go on.
sucked, and then the guy had to admit it sucked. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's live stream. Great.
And then suddenly dead happened.
Yep.
So because Gainer did have to leave, we do have one spot open in the Discord stream section. So if anybody wants to hop in, then that is there as well.
We're gonna have another spot open because I'm leaving to play League with Freydis.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
So yeah, have fun.
See you, Drake.
Wait, what did I miss?
The world.
What did I miss?
The world is on
Oh.
fire, and everybody is dying.
Ah, nice. Sorry about that. My husband just decided to randomly come over and start showing me a video of someone dying twice in the exact same spot on Monster Hunter World 2. Was that Xenojiva?
No idea.
Oh, literally, he died in one spot. Seconds later, respawn, came back, and was killed by the same move again. Seconds later, in the same spot. Point
What-
being, my husband decided to come and, without saying anything, just start showing me the video while I still had my mic unmuted.
I do actually have to go back inside soon. I'll still be in the stream on text if that's okay. Before I do, did anyone have any questions that I can answer or anything?
Just the same one as before, I guess. A way to donate. Well, actually, you guys said coffee might.
Yeah, coffee doesn't
that,
coffee
so-
doesn't require an account, so that would be a way to donate without having to make an account. I guess
Awesome.
I guess I would throw in the random question that's kind of like the necessary question in situations like this. So how did you accidentally stumble across my channel? Because I can only assume it was not by choice.
Well, I actually had been getting into these style of YouTube channels lately, where they just question, disseminate, and take apart a whole lot of religious and nonsense crap.
Okay.
And one of the ones I found was Mr. Atheist, and I found your collaboration video with him when I was looking through his stuff. And then I just looked at some of yours, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is good. So I've just been watching videos since. Like, I'm
Yep,
going
fair
piece by
enough.
piece to the archive to make sure I don't miss anything. Because I don't really have anything else to do in general when I'm just sitting here looking for work. So I just find YouTube channels I like and use them as a radio station, basically. And this one has been one of my favorites so far.
Fair enough.
I more or less do the same thing too. They're like my podcasts.
Welcome to the stream, Drag. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Struggling through some Dark Souls.
Okay, so I'm going to head in and be right back. My YouTube name is Myota Seraph, so that'll be me when I'm typing there.
Okay. Alrighty.
And
Go.
thank everyone very much for this. I really appreciate all of it.
Yeah, no
No
problem.
problem. I feel like that's an odd thing to say. You're welcome. I don't feel like anything's hard to say because we're trying to help you, so. I'll think of words sometime. Ooh, stuff and things. There we go.
That was awkward timing. I'm still not very well, and I literally popped into chat just to wish them the best, and they've gone. So, so let them know that I wish them my best, and I'll leave again for free.
They're
I'll
gonna
chat
be
with
in
somebody
the
somebody that's not going to
comments still.
cough at you.
Arachne's still gonna be in the YouTube comments, so. Got really quiet. Am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay.
No,
No,
you're not.
everything is just on fire.
Yeah, Jen.
Hmm?
Announce
Meow
that.
meow 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 meow
Oh, dear.
meow mix. I don't know. That's what I do when I'm not sure what else to do, and it's too quiet. So I sing meow mix. Ooh. Oh wait, no. I only want to do that in typing. Never mind.
Is general
I'll do
chat
that in
always
the
like
comments.
this, or is this just one of the few occasions?
Is what always like this?
If the general chat is always like having debates and stuff like this.
No, not usually. But
Fair enough.
Hey, that's how I found you too. Was through Vice Rhino's channel.
oh, neat.
Someone was in the comments was saying that. Or actually, I saw you in a video there, and I didn't actually go to look at you at the time, but you popped up on my thing after. I'm like, oh, I recognize them.
I found you because Emmet recommended you, and I'm not subscribed to you actually. I occasionally tune in to watch your videos, but I'm not subscribed because you upload too frequently.
Wait,
Fair
you don't
enough.
have to turn the bell on, I think.
Yeah, because
I do upload fairly frequently, and I know that can be a problem for some people.
I mean, I'm subscribed to over 200 channels already, and have a YouTube addiction. Plus, I'm trying to be a college student. I cannot afford to follow you.
See, I have the fortunate effect of having no life, so I can keep up with all this.
Ah, cool. Also, then it's like I like. Also, like, so then some of the videos like don't interest me too much. I mean, the videos about religion is like to me that ship has sailed. Like, my interest in videos debunking religion kind of died a while ago because I don't know. I used to follow that very heavily back in the day, but now it's just I've heard every argument. I've heard every like it's being debunked in like all possible ways. Like, it's not really entertaining for me to watch anymore. There's that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's one of the reasons why I actually try to do more content than just religious debunks. Because I know that there are some people that are here for that, and there are some people that are here for other things that aren't necessarily that, some like social commentary and sometimes live streams that deal into completely different topics that are not that.
Yeah.
Yeah, diversification's never a bad idea.
I actually I was considered to actually turn my channels like I used like my channel used to kind of be commentary, review, and that kind of stuff. Then I just realized I don't give a shit about any of this. I just want to make jokes.
That's the reason that I couldn't. I wanted to make a gaming channel, like, and actually like review games and talk about them. Problem is that I learned that I love playing games and I love talking about them, but making content about it, I feel no drive to do so.
Yeah, I guess. I am. My YouTube channel, it started off as a fucking My Little Pony review channel. And then, like, I made the first video, thought it's terrible, but I thought, like, my analysis and everything was terrible, but I thought the few jokes I made were funny, and honestly, I had more fun making those than anything else in the video. So I just started to be like, okay, what if I only make jokes and nothing else? Yeah, that works. And yeah.
Fair.
I had wanted to do like a Let's Play thing, but I haven't streamed in a long while because I gave that up basically because unless I actually have people watching me to talk to, I'm silent. So it's very boring watching me, and I get distracted in games easily and end up wandering, doing some time-consuming thing that most people find boring to watch. So
Yeah, that's fair. I wanted to actually make a Let's Play of Lego Star Wars with a friend because we found a very convoluted way to be able to play co-op Lego Star Wars over the internet, while the game only has local co-op. But it's just time-consuming and editing. God, I guess flashbacks.
Is that not unlike how you have to go out of your way to do local co-op with Resident Evil 5? Because Resident Evil 5 on the PC, doesn't have local co-op, but it's a port from the Xbox version that did have local
Just
co-op.
local co-op.
So what you had to do is you had to literally go in and enable the option for local co-op in the code. Like, you had to actually go in and use a program to crack into the game to enable it, and then it was there usable, like if it was there the whole freaking time. It's painful. It's actively painful to think about it.
The way we had to do it was that to make the local co-op work over internet was that we had to first of all create a virtual server. Then we had to let's see how, like, we used TeamViewer or something where he would log in. Yeah, I think it was TeamViewer. He used it like log into his Steam account from on my computer, and then we like had to set local co-op through the virtual server, so to trick the computer to think. To trick the computers to think that they were on the same network, and there's like
We used to have to do that with Hamachi.
Yeah,
We would use Hamachi to do that.
Yeah, I don't remember if we used Hamachi or something else. I don't like Hamachi that much. It's I used to use it for Minecraft servers back in the day, but now it's just.
I used it for Terraria servers back in the day. I know the feels.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's just. I don't know. Networking. As someone, I actually studied programming and have studied networking and stuff. It's really boring.
Yes. Yes, it is. In fact, it was through coding that I learned how to hate coding.
Oh, that's a mood. I actually enjoy coding quite a lot. As long as it's not JavaScript, that can just...
I don't think anybody likes Java. Even the people who make Java hate Java.
No. He said JavaScript. JavaScript is basically C with like... If C and somebody who doesn't know how to make something object-oriented had a baby, it would be JavaScript, and it would
then
be...
then they dropped the baby.
And then they dropped the baby, and PHP looked at it really weird.
Yeah, that's all.
No.
My favorite... I remember I have a meme on my phone that just explains everything wrong with JavaScript. It's just in the simplest of terms. One is, for example, okay, what is 0.1 plus 0.2? Apparently it's not 0.3. Like, what? But why though? Why can't you do math now?
Yeah, Java...
That's a good question.
You know, I hated programming Java, but at least because I enjoyed programming in C++ more, I didn't hate JavaScript as much, because JavaScript is closer to C++ than it is Java.
I've done both, and I like C++ more, but I do think Java is pretty nice as well, mostly because I don't have to deal with pointers and stuff like that.
Well, Java can do something that C can't, and that's that you can program a microwave with Java.
Fun is that Java was the first programming language I tried to learn because I was very, very, very into Minecraft when I was younger, and Minecraft made me want to make games, and I heard that Minecraft was made in Java, so I thought, hey, let's try to learn Java. Didn't go that well. Then I started C++, didn't go well. Then I actually went to a course in high school to program C++, and it went a lot better.
Okay. Well, that clears up the confusion for me.
Yeah, JavaScript is evil. Also, I don't like PHP that much either.
But PHP is so necessary.
Yeah, that's the painful part. I think it might have been to do with, when I learned about web programming and that kind of stuff. It didn't really stick that well to me, especially like the HTML and CSS part. And then we started to learn a little bit of SQL, and I am pretty decent at it, at least. But then when it comes to like actually connecting, the databases with the website, that's like I think it's because I have an issue with web programming. So like connecting the database with the web thing was kind of hard for me to. I don't know.
Fair. I do have to ask. Hold on, let me see. I know that Arachne is in the chat or the live chat itself. So when they get a chance, Arachne, if you can do me a favor and check PayPal and see where we are at currently, should be able to hear that. Hopefully, that is hopefully.
Yeah, I get those live updates. Oh no.
Okay, our friend just sent me like a programming meme. It was like, like, you know, fucking, just running the code for the first time and there's no bugs and just think, it works! What's wrong with it? Like,
See, the closest I've done to programming is I worked on some system, or tried to learn system administration for Red Hat Linux.
I was about to say, Wade, you tried to learn sys administration. I wasn't aware that policing me was a job.
It's a full-time job.
But like, seriously though, I actually get genuinely worried whenever I run a program and it works without the bugs at first try. Like, how?
You lucked out. That's what it is.
Wait.
Are you okay, Skylos?
I just checked the stream voice chat. And I'm just gonna check. Do I actually? Is that you, Tom?
It is.
How's it going, Tom? How I didn't notice it was you. I feel bad now. Yeah, what were we talking about again?
I'm just gonna go ahead and default to everything is on fire.
Yeah.
Stuff and things.
I should really go out to buy some food. I'm too lazy to do so.
I always, when I'm not sure what to say about stuff, I always go to stuff and things. Or words and things.
Stuff and things usually...
Or just things and things.
Things and things. Let's see here. Terry B says donations. So the reason that donations are happening right now is because Arachne, who is one of the members of our Discord and a fan of the channel, is currently homeless. So we are trying to earn enough through this stream. We're currently at $250.47. We are trying to earn enough through this stream so that they are going to be able to take care of food and shelter and all that, and the bills that they have right now for themselves while they are looking for employment so they can get out of being homeless. Because anybody who tries to say that you should give a hand up, not a handout, I disagree. I think you should give both. Sorry.
Well, what's a hand up referred to?
A hand up means that you give the person employment, but that's it. You don't give them any other help. And a hand out would be giving them money and food and stuff like that. I'm of the opinion that you should give both because, for instance, if I were in a situation right now where I needed to pay rent tomorrow, and somebody said, okay, well, I can get you this $50,000 a year job right now. It'll solve all your problems. I'm like, it'll solve all the problems except being evicted tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you're being evicted, that's a lot of problems in of itself, actually.
I remember...
People who are evicted have trouble finding anywhere to live.
Yeah,
at least in California.
I remember a while ago I read a really, really good article that actually talked about, you know, homelessness and like how, like the economy, like how it was talking about some, you know, millennials specifically, but like it talked about how the issues that a lot of people have with moving out, getting, you know, being able to get out of a job and being able to stay afloat long enough to actually, you know, live somewhere, and the issues with, you know, moving places and all that stuff. And it's I'm gonna see if I can find it, but I'm not sure I can. It was a really long time ago.
That actually reminds me, it's another problem in California when it comes to people who are homeless. A lot of them are people who have just literally like turned 18 and their parents are like, okay, you're good. You can go out on your own now. We're kicking you out. Like that's happened to that's kind of what happened to me is as soon as I graduated high school, my mom's like, okay, pretty much kicking you out. Like I wasn't, I guess I was technically homeless for a while, but I had a lot of friends that me and my at the time boyfriend could stay at, so definitely not the same situation at all. But my mom was literally just kicking me out because, well, we couldn't really stand each other, I guess. We argued about everything. Like, I would visit, and 5 minutes in, I couldn't go 5 minutes basically without us arguing about something. It's a lot better now, though.
I know for me, when I was living with my dad, the situation there got so bad that I did have to move out. But that was because the environment that I was in, because of how my dad operated, was not one that was conducive to me being mentally healthy. It's nothing that I could say was definitively his fault, because I did not grow up with my dad. So, like, I didn't live with him until I was 18. So we were not actually in a situation where I could deal with any of that stuff. Also, Toby Blackmore says, aren't your parents responsible for your well-being until you reach a certain age? I thought they were until you turn, 23. Not in the United States. In the United States, there are a lot of parents that are very kick you out of the house at 18, try to survive the housing market, have fun.
Yeah, that's dumb.
It wasn't hard for them. So they think you can do it too. The mindset is, I could do it,
Drag.
so you can.
Drag?
Yeah.
Could we not? Thank you.
Yeah, the market is very different nowadays. So yeah, it's
like I'll do the math real quick to show how stupid the situation is. So, for instance, minimum wage in the United States, and any job you can get at 18 is going to be a minimum wage job, unless you are incredibly lucky. Minimum wage is $7.25. You're going to be at the 12% tax bracket, not to mention other things that are going to be taken out. So we're going to go ahead and say that you're going to make about $6 an hour. Like, that's usually around what your take home is going to be if you're lucky. So,
sorry.
So we take that as 6 times 40. It's $240. Let's assume that you're working 40 hours a week, which is, again, something that doesn't necessarily happen because there's a lot of jobs that will do everything in their power to prevent you from getting 40 hours a week because it means they have to pay insurance. So you are looking at living off of $960 a month, assuming that everything is hunky-dory. Let me go ahead and just run off of where I live right now. I do not live in a high-income area. If I were to get a one-bedroom apartment where I am right now, it would cost me $650 minimum. So we're going to go ahead and pull $650 out of here. And we are now left with $310. Phone bill, which you have to have, because if you want to get employed, you're going to have a phone. Let's see here. That phone bill, for me, is $150 for 2 people, so we'll call it $100 for 1. Because mine is a family line plan between 2 people, so you're going to look at $80 or $100 for the 1 line. Then let's see, car insurance. For me, car insurance was at $1,270. Currently, it's $100 because I'm past the age of 25. But let's go ahead and call it what it was. Let's just call it what my insurance was originally. Okay, now let's go ahead and take into account internet. Internet here is about $40 a month. We are now currently sitting at negative $100. And I haven't factored in food, which if we're being cheap, $200 a month is going to maybe help you out. So now we're at negative $300, and we haven't taken into account water. $45 a month. Let's go ahead and make it super conservative. You're at neg $345. Let's see here. What other bills am I not factoring in so far? This isn't factoring in, by any means, gas. So let's go ahead and say that your gas, and this is assuming you own your car, by the way. If you own your car, this is the case. Oh, electric. I haven't factored in electric. You're right. Let's go ahead and assume that you're just doing your commute. So you're looking at maybe $120, just gassing up once a week. And then electric, yes, we're going to go ahead and call that $100 if you're being conservative. Let's see here. We are currently, without affording anything extra, on minimum wage, working 40 hours a week. You make negative $565 after we take out your shit.
Yeah.
Welcome to America, everybody!
Yeah, it's like, I'm really happy. These kind of things make me really happy that I live in Sweden. I mean, even then, like, the way I still live with my parents, however, or my mom specifically, and she allows me to live here until I can find, a proper apartment to live at. But until then, I'm paying a kind of rent. It's only like $100 per month, but like at least I'm paying something. So it's not. So it's not like she's just letting me stay here.
Wait, how much do you guys normally pay per month for?
You cut out.
How much do you guys a month for rent?
Where I live right now, $650 for a 1-bedroom. And this is a low-income area.
Last time I checked...
That's
like,
cheap compared to here.
Yeah, I know!
Last time I checked...
Good luck finding a 1-bedroom.
I'm very lucky. Nebraska's...
I'm going to have to check from memory, but I think last time I checked at that apartment, it had 2 bedrooms and was about $500 per month or so, I think. Actually, wait, I'm gonna
Yeah, no, the 2-bedroom that we're in right now is $1,000 a month.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna actually use a currency converter because I'm not actually sure. I may have gotten the conversion right. Okay, it's like $550 per month.
Yeah, no, the 2-bedroom we're in right now is $1,000 a month.
Oof.
Yeah, no, that's...
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. I live in Nebraska right now. It's $550 for my 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay, your rent is high.
Yep. Oh, but Quessa brought up a point. We have not actually factored in health insurance.
Oh god.
Yeah, and if you don't have health insurance, you get fined now too. So congrats on that.
Being too poor to afford health insurance instates you with a couple $1,000 fine when tax season comes in.
Really kick you when you're down.
I'm not great with the math and stuff, and I don't know the exact numbers. I just know we pay about, I think, $14.50 a month here, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It would be like $14.25, but there's like a $25 a month pet deposit for our cat. But we don't pay for water. We don't have to pay for trash. We only pay for gas and electric, and we don't really use the heater or AC, so we've never really... Actually, the heater's gas, but when we did use it, it's still really cheap compared to electric for AC. We never use the AC. We don't have a car. We pretty much walk or ride our bikes or get rides everywhere, so we don't have to really pay for that. I pay for storage that's $80, I believe, $85, something like that. Minimum wage right now in California is $12 also. So, and we work overnight, so we have a 50-cent incentive and actually get $12.50 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think our electric bill is usually, my husband said, I think like 50-something, $60, because everything we have is pretty much, I mean, we have a lot of electronics, but they're all, what is it called? Low
yield.
We even have our own...
They're low yield.
Yeah, we even have a washing machine, a portable or whatever you want to call it, washing machine that we have in our apartment because, like I said, we don't pay for water and it doesn't use a lot of water, and it's.
I think the point that this all gets to though, is that living here is redonk expensive. Even in I'm in a low income area, you're in a high income area, and the amount that is charged for that is ludicrous. So this is the reason why, I
believe this is low income areas where I live. This is kind of on the lower end for apartment complexes, I think.
Fair.
Yeah, California is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have rental laws here, so people can charge as much as they want. Top of that, if you want to buy a house in California, do not be a part of a, oh crud, what are they called? A housing association. They
'Cause
have
then you
more
have-
power
Yeah,
than
well-
you do over your own house.
Yeah, that
They
brings
can
in
evict you. Sorry.
what I'm trying to get at is that just living, not counting in any extra expenses, is already hard enough. And this stream is to make sure that we can try to get Arachne in a situation where they can handle some of this. They had, from what they're saying in the chat, a $2,500 hospital bill that led to this situation. So this stream is an attempt to try to help them get on their feet. I know that somebody in the chat earlier was like, hey, are we paying somebody else's bills? The answer to that is basically yes, we are trying to help pay for somebody who is currently homeless in a situation where they're being physically abused because of who they are in that homeless situation. So yes, we are in fact trying to help a fellow human being get out of their rut.
Gotta love America.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what?
it really says
That-
something when you have to kind of crowdfund this kind of thing to just survive.
I think what tells me something is that we have cases where someone might work 3 jobs and barely stay afloat, and people tell them that they don't work hard enough. Like, that's the attitude. That's the American attitude. And pretty bad.
It's horrible. I personally
Yeah.
very much.
My husband's grandparent, or grandma, not his grandpa's like that. She told him when we were almost going to be homeless one time, when we were actually, he had a job at the time, we were literally almost going to be homeless. She told him to leave me and get 2 full-time jobs so that he would be able to afford a place. That's what she
Yeah.
was saying. She wouldn't.
Yeah,
they had
that's-
rooms up there. They could have let us use a room, and even if we paid rent and stuff, and that's what she told him.
Jinzo pointed out that they had a $4,000 bill just for the ER.
Oh god.
Quessa, it doesn't matter what treatment they got in the ER. That's bog standard. Like,
It's
a few $1,000s for the ER is bog standard here.
Well, no,
Yeah,
isn't it
it-
also literally
all the costs
just
are
for
assuming
the ambulance ride. That's it's literally the ambulance ride too is ridiculous.
Yep.
See, here
Enough
in
so
New
that some
Zealand-
people actually get like Ubers to go to the hospital.
What were you saying?
It's-
What were you saying, Acid?
Here in New Zealand, usually the case is the emergency department is, and if it's an accident, you get subsidized by ACC if it prevents you from further work.
That sounds nice.
I desperately wish that the situation, at least when it came to all this, I wish that we lived in a country that did not force people further and further down the wage hole, as it were. But this is, I'm the bog answer that I get a lot when I say something like that is, oh well, you can just leave. Well, one, no, it's not that easy. Two, I would rather try to do something to bring awareness to this issue and change it, help the situation, more so than just picking up my shit and leaving.
Yeah,
So-
that's a quitter's attitude to just pick up and leave. Personal
Sorry, I was
opinion, though.
laughing at a comment that someone said. I didn't mean to sound rude.
Ugh.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like all medical costs in this country are pretty much based around the idea that you have insurance, and so they're not supposed to be affordable because somebody else is supposed to be paying it for you.
Adam Ruins Everything did a really good episode on that.
Yeah, wasn't there something about like literally just giving birth in the hospital too? Like for that is like $10,000 or something just to have the kid, or something like that.
Probably, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, having a child is not a it's not a good idea right now. if you do not have a decent chunk of income, it's incredibly expensive for the hospital stuff currently, and children do not have the best immune systems, and healthcare in the United States is ridiculously expensive. So we are in this wonderful situation where if you can't afford healthcare for yourself, you definitely can't afford it for your kid.
I like how a bunch of news outlets ask, why do millennials not have more kids?
Probably because we realize that it's a dumb idea right now.
You literally can't afford it.
Yeah,
like I said, their whole viewpoint is, we could do it, so can you. Even though things are way different today.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's usually applied to college, too, which I've got a good number breakdown on that I can pull off here in a minute.
I still don't understand why college is so freaking expensive in America.
Everything's expensive. That's why.
Even if you have a degree, good luck getting a job with what you're getting your degree for.
Not to mention,
yeah, that's my girlfriend currently.
Our system right now is one that doesn't value anyone with, say, a liberal arts degree, and yet we have a lovely situation where people who do understand things that they would understand from various liberal arts degrees, even though here in America they get put down all the time because you can't get a job with that. And yet these people usually end up with an education that allows them to look at the world through a different lens that is incredibly helpful, but then they can't get employment to do anything with it, which sucks.
A big part of that is probably because the whole school system is based on the same system we had 100 years ago.
Yes, we have an industrial age system right now.
Yeah, which is dumb. I mean, I've always been an advocate for something that I used to advocate a lot in when I went to school, both I don't know if the term is still elementary school or not. I don't freaking know. But high school and slightly before high school, I advocated that things like just philosophy and that kind of just topics of subjects where you learn to think critically and that kind of stuff. That should be in the curriculum instead of a bunch of other.
I agree.
How to do your taxes. That'd be fantastic.
Somebody pointed out that if we could have, instead of mandatory Algebra 2, having a mandatory class on how to deal with things that you'd have to deal with in the house, like buying your own home, doing your own taxes, learning various life skills, that would be useful. I would also argue, I agree that philosophy should be something that we learn in the curriculum, not because I enjoy philosophy and I like dealing with freaking sophistry. I do. That has nothing to do with that, though. It has everything to do with the fact that and I see this in my comment sections so often, when somebody is trying to say that something I've said is wrong, or say that something that anybody has said is wrong, typically what I'll see is that the reasoning is full of holes. It's full of non sequiturs, it's full of fallacies, and it's full of things that you don't normally think of when you are dealing with stuff like this. But there's, for instance, if a husband and wife are arguing, and the wife points out a shortcoming of the husband, what is one of the first things the husband's going to do to the wife? They're going to point out a shortcoming for the wife.
Tu quoque.
Which, yes, if you study logic, that is the tu quoque fallacy. That's something that, even if both of you are correct, the conversation was not about the shortcomings of the other. You have now subscribed to whataboutism. You have put yourself in a situation where you are requiring a fallacy to do this. Or, what's another term that we use all the time? When somebody points out that something you said is inconsistent with how you're acting, we always do the, okay, well, that's different. That's special pleading.
Yeah.
That's another very easily understood fallacy that if people just spent some time studying this stuff, they would understand, oh, no, I actually can't get anything there. I can't get any... I can't move forward with this conversation by utilizing that. Another one is So I think a lot of people would not lose as much money on lottery tickets if they understood the gambler's fallacy.
Yeah.
The mere fact that you flipped the coin 10 times and you got tails each time does not mean that the likelihood of getting heads has increased on the 11th time.
Yeah, exactly.
The likelihood has been the same every single time. You did not modify your chances by doing it multiple times.
Then we have the funny. I've actually encountered this in debates before. Is the like the fallacy, where someone like I try to argue with someone, and all we do is point out fallacies without actually coming with any reasoning.
Yes,
That.
the mere fact that something is fallacious doesn't mean that it is wrong, and pointing that out pointing that out is letting them know that they are using the fallacy. Fallacies don't mean you're wrong. Like, even for instance, going back to the husband and wife thing, husband and wife point out a shortcoming with each other. One of them is engaging in too quick way. It does not mean that the thing they said is wrong. The shortcoming that they pointed out of their other is probably still a thing that needs to be addressed. Has nothing to do with whether or not they are correct.
I think that I've met quite a few people like use the fallacies as kind of gospel, but when I see it more, I think it's more like guidelines than of how you should approach a debate more than direct exact rules of if you break these rules then you automatically are wrong.
Yeah, no, they're not things that automatically make you wrong. But I definitely view them the same ways. I view them as like these are the rules of engagement. And as these are the rules of engagement, it's best practice to abide by them as best you can, because it's like a skeleton that if you operate within that skeleton, you're at least operating honestly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a good way to think about like logical structures is they're literally ways that you process information. So you can be right, but it comes down to like, did you have the proper reason for thinking that you're right? And if your logical structure of thinking is incorrect or invalid, as it's usually referred to in philosophy, you reach the point where even if you have good information, you can't get the right conclusion. So if you get the right conclusion with the wrong information, so be it. Like, things are just messed up. It's literally just has to do with how you process the information.
Not to mention, you would be able to. One of the things that I think people, when they go into arguments, would help them out a lot is knowing the difference between like a straw man and a steel man. Because when people argue, one of the things that I hear a lot is, well, you think this, and then the other person goes, no, I don't. In a debate, that's just called using a straw man instead of a steel man, and we have an entire system for avoiding that.
Wait. I've actually never heard about a steel man. What's a steel man?
So a steel man, this was popularized by Sam Harris. A steel man is the opposite of a straw man. So what you do with a steel man is when you are about to respond to your opponent's argument, instead of saying, my opponent thinks this, you then look at your opponent and you take a minute to summarize their position. And then you ask your opponent, is that an accurate summary of your position? And they either agree or disagree. And if they agree, then you then respond to that summary of their position. Steel manning it's the exact opposite of straw manning, whereas straw manning, you blow something in their position out of proportion, or you say something that they do not espouse to, and you construct something that you can knock down instead. With a steel man, you build the strongest version of their argument possible, and then respond to that instead. And it's usually done whilst also seeing if they approve of your steel man of their position. A good example of this, I am not a fan of Jordan Peterson at all, but the Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson conversation, there was a 3-part conversation, took place over several days. That is a good example of how to properly do this. Before either one responded to the other, they steel manned the other's position and waited until the other agreed that they had properly summarized their position before responding to any points. And it actually made for a productive conversation as a result.
Yeah, okay, I'm not too big of a fan of Jordan Peterson either, to be honest. Like, he says a lot of things that I just do not agree with at all. But I do respect him as a debater in a lot of sense, because he does at least try, seem to, for at least from everything all the clips I've seen, he actually tries to approach debate in the most civilized manner possible and try to be as productive as possible.
But being civilized doesn't mean he's being honest.
Yeah, I mean that is true. I cannot
Seem
recall.
like
I cannot
whoops.
recall when he's been dishonest, but that may just be because I haven't actually been invested enough into Jordan Peterson to actually find where he has been dishonest and honest.
What Peterson does is he sandwiches one bullshit claim in between two logical claims. So he'll say something that is agreeable that you'll nod your head at, and then he'll say something that is absolutely bonkers. Like, for instance, he'll say, we didn't have the greatest understanding of DNA in the ancient world. And you nod your head. He says, however, we do have these examples of spiral systems that seem to be like DNA, and you nod your head. And he goes, I think that means that they had an understanding of what DNA was, and you've already nodded your head twice, so why not do it again? And then, before you can think about why you nodded your head, he then says something else that's reasonable, and then you nod your head to that, because you've now agreed with the reasonable thing. So now you've let the two snakes spinning together, meaning that it's spiral DNA they understood in the ancient world, that's now slipped completely under your radar, but you nodded your head to it anyway.
Okay, okay, I understand that. I can't recall when he's done that, but then again, it was a long time ago since I checked him out. So, I tend to just. My default position is that I always assume the best of people. So whenever I hear someone say something
Hey,
negative,
in philosophy, we call that the principle of charity.
Yep.
That's a thing too.
Yeah, I know, but like, I know that's a principle. Yeah,
I just think it's funny how many of these things you can actually go. Actually, if somebody studied logic, they would know what that is, and it would be super helpful.
And like I'm the kind of person just like I care less about the terminology of stuff and more about doing. For example, I'm pretty decent. I'm pretty good at chess. I don't know any of the names of the actual like moves that like famous moves and strategies.
Yeah, you don't know the names of like I know that if you've backed me into a corner, but I've only moved my bishop and rook, I can swap my king or not my bishop, my bishop and knight. I can swap my king and my rook down to their middle spaces, but I don't know what that move's called. I know it's a thing I can do.
That's actually the only move I know what it's called.
Yeah, it's called castling.
Damn it, Drag.
Yeah.
Damn it, Drag. Anyway, Namiel, were you? I saw in the chat you said the word that starts with Q. Which word was that?
Quo, Q, whatever.
Oh, it's a tu
quoque.
Tu quoque. Tu quoque literally means "what about you?" It's
Yeah.
So if you tell
What about this?
Okay.
if you tell me, Surus, I don't appreciate how you represented. Fuck it, let's go. I don't appreciate how you represented Hunter Avalon in your recent video, and I were to respond with, "Well, I don't appreciate how you represented, say, genetically modified skeptic in your video." Now we've come to a standstill. Both of us have brought up points, but neither of us have addressed either of them. And what I've done is literally gone, "What about you?" or "Tu quoque."
Okay.
And it's a conversation stopper.
There was another one I've heard you mention a lot too, like something like hawk in the name or something.
Post hoc,
Ad hoc.
post hoc ergo proctor hoc.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it has to do. Oh, go ahead.
Post hoc assertion has to do with, for instance, we know that during the time that Job was written, there was a decently widely held belief that the Earth was flat. However, moving forward, when we look at some of the things in Job, we see that the cosmology in Job doesn't necessarily hold true with what is in reality. So we say that, well, they must have been using metaphor. Well, that's a post hoc analysis. Post hoc ergo proctor hoc means because I can analyze this and say that it means it now, it must have always meant that. But that's not necessarily how things work.
I have a question. Like, is there a name for? Okay, a few times in debate, I've met people who are like, "Oh, have you read this particular book by this particular person?" In order to like, try to seem smarter and like they know I haven't read that book, so they're trying to be like, "Haha, checkmate! I know more than you because I've read this book." Is there a name for that? Like when people do that kind of stuff, it's annoying as hell.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I mean, it sounds like you're talking about like an appeal to an authority.
Appeal that sounds like a type of appeal to authority.
Yeah, I guess.
But it doesn't sound like it's directly fallacious, because the appeal to authority fallacy is appealing to somebody who's not an authority as an authority.
The thing is that I don't think it's an appeal to authority, because the argument they are making, they're not saying, hey, this greater authority says this, therefore it's true. It's more that you haven't read this thing, therefore you don't know, or therefore you know less than me, or therefore you're, or like I know more than you because I've read this particular source, or something like that. I don't know.
Right, I get what you're saying. I don't know if there's an official name for that, because here's my issue when it comes to like calling certain things fallacies that aren't fallacies, or they are, but they're like, so in fallacies you have first order and second order fallacies, which I forget, there's another way to refer to them, but basically like the first order ones are ones that actually occur within the logical reasoning. So within the logical structure, they're what makes a logical argument invalid. And then you have second order, formal and informal, sorry, those are the other ways to refer to them. The second order or informal fallacies are ones that aren't necessarily wrong in...
God of the Gats is an example of an informal fallacy.
Yeah, they're not exactly wrong in the logical structure, but it doesn't still lead you to a correct conclusion.
Also, we did have a super chat from Board Dev, just sharing a little financial love. I like what you're doing, and I think you're a good person for $5. Thank you for that. It's incredibly helpful. Although I would also prefer, if possible, anybody who's thinking about donating to me during the stream to not do so. I'm not going to get on a Board Dev for doing so, obviously. But anytime somebody is thinking that they want to donate to me, this stream is for trying to donate to Arachne, and their stuff is in the description below, so please donate to them. This is about them, not me right now.
Also, I think that YouTube takes a bigger cut from if you make a donation for chat as well.
It does, but I'm less worried about that and more worried about the money going to the person who needs it right now.
Okay, fair enough.
But they are currently at, I believe, $350 so far. If you can do a check on that again, Arachne, see where we are at currently, so we can figure out what we are doing so far. Thank you very much for that, by the way. And then Bart Bride pointed out that Surus admitted that he learned statistics for card games, and yes, that is true. The only reason that I know anything about stats is because I wanted to become a better competitive card game player.
All I know
That's as good a reason as any, honestly.
All I know from stats is what I learned in school, because stats are not important. Whenever I play card games, I do either what's the most boring thing I can force upon my opponent, or what's the most chaotic approach to this. For example, I have this, like, in Magic the Gathering, I have a Rakdos Defiler Commander deck, which is just... Oh, you messed with me? Yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice half on all my stuff just so I can inflict damage on you because I'm mad. I've several times with that deck, just more than often than not, I actually commit suicide in that game just to defeat another player specifically because they make me mad. Someone once, I remember once in a game where I tried to take an extra turn with some card, and he countered it. My response to that was, okay, Final Fortune, I take an extra turn after this one, I will lose after that, but I will kill you on that extra turn, so...
Right.
You want to hear a
No,
funny,
that's always fun.
a somewhat funny Magic the Gathering story?
Yeah.
I wasn't actually there, it's basically just what my husband told me. because he went with a friend. They basically did was a 2v2.
Okay.
And he basically just told his friend, protect me. He pulled the second sun out, the first one.
Hmm.
Everyone on the other team started basically, freaking out. Our friend was able to protect him, and he came out as the single winner because second sun destroys everyone else, even your teammates.
There's the worst thing you can do in Magic. There's a if you're familiar with Commander, where you've got multiple people playing with their commanders, 99 card deck singleton. There's a card.
I thought it was 100.
The deck is 99 cards, and then you have one commander that is separate from the deck.
Okay.
It makes 100 cards total.
Well, there's also the sub deck or whatever.
You mean the side deck? That's a 15.
I thought it was called yeah.
Yeah, there's a 15 card side deck, but that's usually not employed in Commander that much.
Okay.
So there's a card that you can use that makes you and your opponent shuffle your libraries and start a new game of Magic, but you only do it against one person. So it literally in games of Commander, if you play that card, you force you and your opponent. It's called side deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Jinzo, and your name is the Jinzo, so we're going to go ahead and say side deck, deal with it. But it forces you and your opponent to play a mini game of Magic, and then the winner of that gets a benefit in the actual game. So you can just put an entire Commander game with 5 or 6 people on pause and just make people suffer through your mini Magic games.
Wait, is that Shahar?
Oh my, that sounds chaotically beautiful.
Is that Shahar you're talking about? The card that does that, or?
I don't remember what the card is. It's just a thing that I've heard people yell and scream about at my local card shop repeatedly.
Okay, because
I would love to do that to somebody. I would feel like a dick, but it would be fun.
I mean, if it's Charizard, then that should be banned in Commander. So maybe some other card, I don't know. There's like, oh my! I remember I actually I have like built a Commander deck. It's like the ultimate troll deck, where it has some ridiculous combos that can go so far as you can switch out your opponent's decks with other decks. Just if you just feel like it, you can. Like, you can reach a stage of control where you can basically just start a new Commander game, except that you are God and just make the rules. And if someone, for example, be like, "Hey, pray to your God, and I will give you more cards."
There was a card back in Ravnica, the first run of Ravnica, that allowed you to pull a card from outside the game into the game to be played. And it was just like, it was one of those wacky things that like Wizards had to make a rule that the card could only pull from your sideboard. But it was one of those things that like I looked at it and I went, I'm going to go find some broken stuff to throw in my binder.
Yes.
Yeah, they made a few like the. I run Death Wish as a card that does that. It's not. I don't think it's from a rat. I think it's some Judgment. But yeah, Ravnica would probably also have cards like that. Oh my God.
Ravnica, there was some wacky stuff you could do in Ravnica. What I used to do in tournaments is I ran a Saproling deck. But Ravnica had a card called Doubling Season. Double any tokens or counters that make it onto the board.
You are describing my favorite deck ever.
You're disgusting for running that card.
And now, but see, here's the thing. I was a Simic fan, which meant I ran green-blue. Blue at the time had a card called Copy Enchantment. 3 mana, copy the effect of any enchantment on board. Which means that you would get the effect of Doubling Season if you managed to get all these on board 8 times. So, and because you were
playing... You were literally describing my deck.
And because you were playing green-blue, it was very likely you could make this board state happen consistently, because how was your opponent going to get rid of your cards when you're playing blue? So, you would get this board state out consistently, and then all you have to do is play one Saproling. Saprolings have an ability for people who don't play Magic, where every turn they get 1 counter, and when they have 3 counters, you can remove the 3 counters to make 1 token. Here's the thing. doubling seasons stacked on themselves in a way that made it so that every 1 counter, if you had 8, made 252 counters. Which means every turn, every sapperling would gain 252 counters. Divide that number by 3, and then divide that number by 3, which means every sapperling could spawn this many tokens. So we have 252 divided by 3. Every sapperling could spawn 84 tokens a turn. Now here's the thing. Doubling season works on counters and tokens. So to figure out how many tokens you spawn in a turn, we must multiply 84 by 252 again. Which means that a single sapperling has the potential to generate 21,168 tokens a turn. Players only have 20 life.
You lose.
Yeah.
That's just exactly what it is.
I remember. Okay, Okay, in my local playgroup, we allow a card in Commander. We allow a card to be played called Booster Tutor, which it's 1 black man. It's from an unset. It's an instant speed, 1 black mana. Open target booster pack, and then you may pick a card from that and put it into your hand. Now, with the troll deck I mentioned earlier, what I've been able to do before is that I went to the playgroup with the unopened disc. I was like, they wondered what that was for. I was not telling them. So once I got my super controlled, state open with the troll deck, what I then did was that I cast Booster Tutor, but forced everyone else to also cast Booster Tutor. And with a I can't really explain it, but I had to, with some very, very weird logical hurdles, I was able to basically force a draft in the middle of a Commander game. And then the winner of the winner of the draft wins the Commander game.
Board Dev says I should join the Discord if I can. In the description, there should be a link to the Discord, so you should be able to grab it from in there pretty easy. Let me go ahead and, just in case for anybody who is not... Oh, wow, I've got all my... I'm like, why can't I find my Discord chat? And then I realized that I have all of my sources from the conversation with Essence of Thought still listed. So I have to scroll through 14 freaking academic sources to get to my Discord link.
Ooh.
Oops. I may have over-prepared a bit for the conversation with Essence of Thought. Just saying. That was maybe...
It is always better to be over-prepared rather than under-prepared, so...
You cite sources?
Yes. I was whipped into making a bibliography when I was in school.
I remember once...
Yeah, whenever you do something.
I remember once in English class when we were supposed to write some kind of argumentative text or whatever, or some kind of essay. I don't know exactly. Remember what exactly it was, but the idea was that it was supposed to be around 2-3 pages, and I ended up writing 25-30 pages. I think the topic was feminism. I don't remember exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Dear God, man.
Yeah,
Who hurt you?
It took me a few months to actually get my grade. I got an A, but yeah.
Who hurt you?
I don't know. Around that time, I was in that meant. Okay, you know how something that often can happen is that if you, for example, maybe you are a young kid, you used to be religious, then you recently realize that, wait, religion's bullshit, and then you are very, very, very anti-religion for a while.
You go into what's called the angry atheist phase.
Yeah, basically that. I basically had a similar phase with that, but with feminism. I think that was it, at least. It was a while ago. I don't remember the details.
Everybody has that phase that they're not terribly proud of.
Yeah.
I look at the videos from the early portions of my channel where instead of accurately deconstructing an argument, I just mocked it, and I went, that's cringy.
Yeah.
That's some high level cringe.
There's two ways to approach it. One is, to actually, answer the arguments, and the other one is, I'm gonna just gonna let the Chris Reagan approach, which is to mock it and like make jokes based on it, which that's fine if you establish that what you're doing is comedy and that you're only trying to do comedy and not actually trying to debate stuff and all that kind of stuff. But if you're trying to like actually argue against something, then that's not really a good approach.
Oh my gosh, I think... Oh no. Oh, please don't tell me that this is what I think it is. Oh no!
What has happened?
I don't like these noises. What's going on?
So, Matt Powell. That's a
yes, everybody's favorite friend.
That's a wonderful way for me to begin anything. And the Jinzo, I actually do have MTG Arena. I just don't play on it that much. Why am I having to listen to that? Drag. I'm going to end you. Please stop. I'm hearing myself through you. Damn it, Drag.
Hey.
There we go. Okay. Anyway.
Matt Powell.
Okay, so Matt Powell is one of the pastors for the new Independent Fundamental Baptists. Basically, we'll just call him cult leader number 2.
Okay.
So, I've got several videos on Matt. So, Matt released a video on his channel called Raging Atheist's Therapy Session, Atheist Gets Schooled, Hilarious Video, because I guess he needed to make it, like, ridiculously memey.
Gotta get them clicks!
And it's the conversation that me and Shannon and Jim Majors and Ocean had with Raging Atheist, where after his conversation with Matt Powell, we all kind of laid into him and went, okay, Nagasuchi, listen, these are the things that you messed up on. Okay. So, during this conversation, what Matt has apparently done is he has taken a 10-minute snippet of it and he has edited it in a way that it sounds like Ocean is afraid to debate Matt Powell.
Oh. So, hold up. Is he challenging Ocean? Because I am down to watch that ass kicking.
That would not be an ass kicking, sir. That would be a California smile drug across the pavement.
I have no idea what a California smile is, but it sounds nasty.
A California smile is when you get somebody to bite the curb and then you kick their head in so much that there's a risk of death.
You curb stomp them. Yes, okay.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
I live in California and I've never heard that term.
Look it up on Urban Dictionary.
Okay. Yeah, no, I would agree with you. But I really hope that's what this insinuates. I really hope that Matthew Powell will end up debating Ocean, because my God, would I love that.
Like, okay, the Jinzo says why not reply to it live? Okay, you know what? You bring up a point. You bring up a very valid point. Allow me. I've got some time. Why not? Let's go ahead.
Well, you should probably double check, make sure Arachne doesn't mind, or I'll probably get them maybe more money that way, actually.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to get this to where I can actually see. Aha, here we are.
I might have to change to a format where I can actually see the...
Are you open?
Yes.
in which...
So, does Matt have any commentary in here? What is his thing here? Due to this debate, the atheist community has determined that it's best not to do... Wait! Wait a minute. Hold on.
I have a phone call I need to make, so I will be back in a minute or two.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna... Let's do a thing.
Explain.
Well, first thing we're going to do is look at his description, but give me a minute. We're going to... This is going to look... Where is it? Where is my window capture? Add new source. To actually get the stuff in here, it's going to look awkward, but that's fine. Raging Atheist's therapy session, apparently. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at his description here. Raging Atheist had his last ever debate with me, according to his words, 2 nights ago on the Modern Day Debate Show. Due to this debate, the atheist community has determined that it is best not to do debates with me. The reason? Because if any of them are asked the same questions that were asked to the Raging Atheist during the debate, they will have to come up with a silly sci-fi answer or be speechless like Raging Atheist was. The main reason Raging Atheist was schooled, as mentioned in the end of this after show, is the quoting of Scripture.
Oh boy.
That makes me cringe to read.
I don't understand how he could take it that way either.
Are you asking you don't understand how Matt Powell can take something? With plenty of lube is the answer to that.
Well, that's fair, but I mean, like, I don't understand where he even got that interpretation from. His ass, I guess.
The King James version.
The King James version of the after show.
The King James version of his ass.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's. So I'm gonna play it, and I don't know if there's a way. There's not a way for me to have you guys listen to it as well, so you'll have to listen to it on the live stream.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna need to switch my setup then, and that's actually gonna have me drop out for a couple minutes.
Okay. This is gonna be cringy.
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and play it. I'll be back on.
Okay. Let's see.
I'll just stay silent while.
Okay. Let us begin. Where are we? Here we go.
Me having a one-on-one conversation with you for a few minutes, just the two of us, about some of my feelings and me asking you a few questions about what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Fucking really?
Wow, just calm myself down.
Man, I had to go add more rum to my Coke.
Yeah, I wish I would have drank tonight. Holy I needed it. But I'm drinking a southern tradition of sweet tea.
I'm pretty sure I was doing everything but debating.
Yeah, oh man. Yeah, I'm still trying to process it. I know there was some parts there where I was really frustrated, and I think he was starting to look a little good. I know Cirrus, man, Raging Atheist can do better at one point. No, I just can't even really remember the point.
He's tactical.
Yeah, he's. I've always said that Matt Powell is a smart guy.
Oh my gosh!
He's a walking charisma machine, and that's the problem.
Is you? He's purposefully only editing the parts where we complimented Matt.
Oh my god.
What? What?
Sad.
Okay, continue.
And he's a manipulation machine.
Oh, he's quick. He's witty. He's
That's the reason why I don't debate Matt Powell. It's like you're.
That's the part where. That's the part. That part right there is the part where we compliment him, and then Ocean says that's the reason I don't debate Matt Powell.
Oh my fucking god.
Continue.
Rooting for you. I don't debate Matt Powell.
I feel good about parts of it. I do. But everything you guys said, I agree with. I went into it telling myself not to get emotional. I never get really emotional in the face-to-faces with Matt. He does have this way recently to trigger the right buttons. I went into it telling Jem and telling Ocean, I know this guy, and I have an idea of what he's going to do. And it turned out that he knew me far better. I will give that to Matt Powell.
He used the personal thing to his advantage. That whenever you would start talking about theology, he would kind of bait you a little bit, and then I just saw it, man, just like crystal clear. He just suck you right back in. I was like, no,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. He was able to get me off track. It really threw me off from the beginning, and I was trying to rebound from that because we just didn't get that element. So it really threw me off, and I had to kind of try to rebound from that. And I got really aggravated.
People, especially people like Matt Powell, never do anything new.
Yeah, it threw me off, dude. I was like, man, he's obviously got something that he thinks that he is gonna catch me with.
Like Matt Powell is the kind of person. He's a Hovenite. He has a script. He's gonna go on that
it's
script.
Hoven and Anderson. I appreciate. I mean, you. As I was telling Ocean earlier, I surround myself with smart people because I will learn, and you are one of those. I was ready to have that debate, but by the time
is it really only 3 minutes in? Is it really only 3 minutes? God damn it!
I actually got to it, and then just once he was, and he was stubborn. He didn't take some of the jabs I threw at him. Like I thought he would, you know.
I want to explain a little bit to you, Rage, why that happened. That the Matt was the affirmative, which means he goes first. The affirmative controls the debate in a debate structure. The affirmative always controls the debate. That's the reason why Matt Powell had a position of strength in ignoring you completely.
Yeah, Matt is definitely smarter than I gave him credit for. He knew what he
knows how to talk. You're debating somebody who talks for a living.
Yeah, and he knew.
You can tell where he cut it. You can tell where he cut it because it goes from a portion where I am on camera and Ocean is not, to immediately I am not on camera and Ocean is on camera. But the way that he's cut it, it seems like it's naturally the way that conversation went. But you can see, based on when our cameras flip on and off, that it is not the same fucking scene.
Yeah.
If you want to dishonestly edit this, cut the bottom portion so that we can't tell when your shitty edit has happened.
He just had to bide his time and make it to that debate. And he had me, you know. And that's another thing Matt has done with me throughout my interactions with him. He tries to pick debate topics that he knows that I don't really want to have. Like, I can't argue against the existence of a god. He definitely took advantage of that, and
he knew that he had emotionally affected you, and he had triggered you.
Like, I was trying not to be like, just, okay, I got it.
You edited it so that Shannon couldn't give her clarifying statement after she said that he triggered you. You blatantly ignored it. Okay. Let's just go. I'm going to go ahead and make this the reminder again. If you have not donated to Arachne so far, and you are here, and you have the opportunity to, please do so, if only because she is having to suffer through this as well. 4 minutes and 12 seconds in, and I already want to commit not alive.
I mean, honestly, what was worse, honestly? I feel like this might be arguably worse than... Okay, maybe I don't know, maybe joking like that is a bit far. Yeah, it's painful to watch.
The Soulless Ginger says, I bet you Matt watches this video when he can't get it up.
Like, oh yeah, the atheists compliment me.
The Jinza says, are you regretting my suggestion? Look, it's not you who I'm regretting right now. It's who was the one who linked this shit? Who linked this? Oh, Vice Rhino. Thanks, Vice. Thanks, Feist. This is Vice Rhino's fault. That's all this is. Okay, let's continue. I can't believe this is only 10 minutes long.
I gotta go.
Oh, I
don't
actually
know
did. Like,
how
I
you
was
did it.
watching. I got up and started pacing. And,
I
like,
wanted
that was.
to.
I did. I got up.
I'm so.
Oh, it drove me crazy.
You have to
This is new
understand
to
though,
me.
going in. Like, you have to be tactically prepared for the fact that
Yeah.
he's going to be dishonest, that
Yep.
he's going to be setting up a narrative.
Yeah, you are exactly right. You know, it is.
I'm surprised you left
it
that
is a
in.
fault of mine. I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it.
Wait. You just smash cutted from "this is a fault of mine" to "I'm getting emotional just thinking about it." Look, Raging did get emotional during that. I know because I was there. I'm clearly there in the video. I was here for this conversation. This is a conversation that I specifically wanted to have. The way that Matt is editing this is absolutely disgusting. Okay.
From the man with no conscience, do you expect anything different?
The man with no soul. Let's see. And
Well, I mean, none of us have a soul, so.
Helva says that you should do collab with Vice Rhino. The problem with doing collaborations with Vice Rhino is that he doesn't have a lot of time, which is why I went for a guest video on his channel instead. Because it's a whole lot easier to do guest videos when somebody doesn't have a whole lot of time. But that said, Board Dev says, "What did Vice Rhino do?" Vice Rhino linked this. He linked this to me. Well, he linked this to me and Shannon and Godless Engineer and everybody. But I'm gonna go ahead and just take this as a personal attack because I can.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna mail the UN. They have broken the human rights.
Okay.
They broke the Geneva Convention by sending this.
Cruel and unusual punishments. You know what?
I watched this video and feel like, is the death penalty really that immoral?
I just sent him a message. Vice, the Geneva Convention has rules, and you broke them by linking this video. Okay, let's continue.
Because I didn't get that, you know. Like,
Yeah,
I wanted that shit.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
He personally harmed you.
I don't want to say it is because of this necessarily, but I think all of us are in agreement that Matt is definitely a duplicitous character. That there's no dissent.
Wait.
If I say that.
Wait. What the fuck did you censor from me?
It is because of this necessarily, but I think all of us are in agreement that Matt is definitely a duplicitous character. That there's no dissent if I say that. Matt.
What could I have possibly said there that warranted censoring?
I'm curious about that too. What did you say that made him censor?
I don't know. I don't.
Do I have to timestamp it? Do I have to go and find the original and timestamp it?
You know,
Matt is a duplicitous.
Like what could I have possibly said?
Whether
Let's do a thing. Let's look here. Talking with friends? No, it would have been.
I'm pretty sure that's the after show, right?
No, the after show. The after show with everyone is what it is. Okay, how do we look here? It is after Gray Skeptic has joined. Okay. So it would be well after this portion. Okay, Gray Skeptic is here.
Fucking say, Cyrus.
I said that Matt Powell is
Take
a
it back!
Okay. I somehow magically I got it, I think.
Yeah.
It's a lot
I
of
hope
that,
you did.
and I don't want to say it is because of this necessarily, but I think all of us are in agreement that Matt is definitely a duplicitous character. That
shit.
There's no.
Okay, it wasn't me who he censored. He censored Nakasuchi saying shit. Okay. That... Okay. Okay, I get it now. I get it. I understand. Okay. For the record, he's taken 10 minutes and edited these 10 minutes together off of a 5-hour-long stream. There's 5 hours of information there that he's willingly leaving out so he can create this. So.
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not.
Because, like,
Pain.
I mean, he takes from Hoven's book. Hoven doesn't
Matt
even
Powell,
do that
lying about me and Ocean and fun stuff.
Yeah, Matt Powell doesn't even take like that much of the science
To this person, and
Let's see.
he showed it there because
He's actually
was,
showing
from
more
what you tell me,
context here than he
a
does
slightly
in
different person
anything
off
else
air
that
than he was
produces ever.
I'm playing the video again.
On air here.
Actually, knowing Matt Powell and having seen one of Matt Powell's sermons and then seeing him personally off to the side, it's not just an online, duplicitous character thing. It is that is him.
What do you think Matt Powell's doing right now?
I think he's the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like he
exactly.
And Matt Powell has a second layer of it, that he is not only in a cult, he is a leader within a cult.
Yeah,
so he has the
is
power
their-
trip as well.
he's
The
their
only
up
thing
and
that he
comer.
needs to do is survive the debate and state how much that he holds his position, and then he gets the accolades when he goes back home.
Is it worth it interacting with him? Or are you just increasing the purview that he has and the reach that he has? Because he's not going to change his mind. Who are you compelling?
I definitely felt through most of it that Matt was winning.
When you up, you give them a gift. So if you're in a debate with if you're in a debate with Matt Powell and you up, you give him a gift.
The people who espouse Powell, Anderson, Hovind, these people specifically are heavily indoctrinated.
But you can escape that deep indoctrination. The difference between Kent Hovind and Matt Powell is years. I mean, you're talking 22 years old. Like, I remember when I was 22. I remember.
Because everybody's so pissed off about the fact that he's got attention.
Wait. Why would you even keep in the conversation between me and Jim about how many years of indoctrination cause issue if you're not going to follow that conversation to its conclusion? Because that conversation had a conclusion where we actually tried to suss out when is it okay to try to change somebody's mind on something like this, or when is it time to walk away. That was the context of that conversation. So why is it that here we have a situation where he kept that part in, he kept the beginnings of that conversation in, or somewhere in the middle, and he did not actually have the conclusion to it? What was the point of even having it in? Is it so you could just jump cut into Shannon cursing? Like...
Probably.
Okay. I can do this. This is another reminder that there are many people suffering in this world, but one of those people that's suffering through here does have a donation link down there, and their name is Arachne, so please. Anywho.
Yeah, and they're just sensationalizing it and further publicizing them.
Yeah.
They made that happen and then blamed somebody else for the fact that they made that happen.
I've agreed with Ocean's point at the same time, is that we have to be smart about it. And I found that out the hard way tonight.
I think it's important to call out people like Matt Powell, because we are prepared to attack him from all angles. Whatever angle he's coming from, you need to be ready for that and just put everything else aside. You need to answer every single question he throws at you to make him look like an idiot, because he's a very, very smart idiot.
Yeah.
How many times is he going to keep in the times we compliment Matt? He's pulled 10 minutes out of 5 hours of conversation, and the stuff that he keeps in is when we compliment his abilities as a rhetorician.
Because you see, he needs somebody to stroke his dick, and his wife certainly won't do it.
Wait, he has a wife?
He has a
I don't know.
girlfriend. He has a
Okay,
girlfriend.
I don't know.
Good.
I don't know. I just want.
He's not
I
at
just
the
went for.
stroke stage yet for them.
Oh,
I just went for-
they just got married. Sorry, he had a girlfriend. They just got married because that's what you do the biblical way. You date for a few weeks and then you get married. And I don't know.
Okay, then my insult.
I'm kind of hoping that he ends up having to pay assloads of alimony. Just saying. Anyways,
His wife's pretty, but
Truly.
pretty stupid for dating Matt. Yes.
Oh no.
I'm willing to go that low. I'm willing to do it.
The vows and everything were, and you know how much I hate this word.
Mhm.
They were the dumbest fucking shit ever. They were fucking retarded.
Oh boy. Okay. 2 minutes. I can get through. No, 3 minutes. I can get through 3 minutes. I can do it.
Or you have to drop everything.
You're not
else
alone,
and
at
just
least.
focus on it. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I should have walked away. I should have demanded the debate be what the debate was supposed to be about.
I think he's managed to associate himself with this group, and it's just like there's now way more reasons not to debate him than there are to debate him.
I have decided after what happened to Nakasuchi tonight, because I'm now just learning how to.
You've cut into when
produce
John got
content
in?
myself, and I don't know if you're familiar with what Dragnot does to G-Man, but I am going to make it my mission in life to do the same thing to Matt Powell.
He had the chance tonight to really. He's the best freaking actor there is. He got me when. But I knew it. I suspected it because.
Yeah.
The problem, John, is, and this has been my experience with Matt, and I did the same thing. My Dancing with the Devils section has got almost 30 response videos to Matt Powell. And the thing I find about Matt, I think he's a different animal than G-Man, to where Dragnot can get into G-Man's head. You just really can't with Matt. Like, he had me where he wanted. Looking back now, it's easy to see. He got me into the exact place I...
A straight minute of Nakasuchi saying he got me. That's the important bits that you needed to keep in. That's the important stuff that you needed your audience to see. Is a straight minute of Nakasuchi saying that he got me. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the end, and we're gonna see what his thing is. Oh, it's just a quote from Hebrews.
I'd say what, like 40% of the time he was like.
Is it just the quote from Hebrews? Do you personally have any thought? Do you have a thing that is original? No? Okay.
No, that would require a brain.
Hi, Emmett. How's it going?
Yo.
How are you doing, Emmett? I see that you are here and dealing with the same crap. Okay, we're gonna.
I've been awake for 2 minutes, so like.
Okay, I have a great idea. Sleep more.
Hello, Emmett.
Sleep is nice.
Oh hi. I would sleep more, but Jeremy has a Warhammer 40k tournament, and I am going with him and picking up the acid. Also, hello, the acid.
I almost tried to get into Warhammer 40k, but there's so many. It's like they just told me, okay, read the rules before you start coming here. I'm like, okay, and there are so many rules. I was like, I cannot understand this. How am I supposed to get into this if I have to read so much? What the fuck? So I just gave up on that.
You know, I don't understand it either, but oh well.
I'm
supporting. Woo.
I hope you slept well, love. I do. I know that you didn't get as much sleep.
Well.
I know you didn't get as much sleep as you wanted to, but I hope it was well.
I think I slept well.
That's at least
I feel
good.
Rested.
That is again at least good. That said, Arachne, where are we currently sitting at on the donations? Because we do have probably another 12 minutes left. I know Arachne has another job interview that she has to get to. What is it, 3:30, I think?
If I remember right, although I'm thinking about it, and I'm like,
Man.
we're handling this.
He had to have the whole minute there, though, of nonstop admission of defeat, because he's trying to show people how smart he thinks he is.
Yeah. No, It is stuff like this that makes me want to go into debate with him, because I know for a fact that I would eviscerate him.
And
But
then he would upload an edited video of that debate where he makes it seem like he won.
Yes.
And that you stroke his ego.
Yep. It's the same thing.
He'd pull a Ken Ham.
And a Saiten Bergenkate. If you remember the debate between Saiten and Matt Dillahunty, Matt won it hand and foot. But the version of it that is on Saiten's channel,
he'd not win because it's so edited.
Yep, he edited it so that it seemed like Matt couldn't respond to things. Also, Arachne says that we're currently up to $375. That is awesome. We've managed to earn them about almost $400 in the almost 3 hours that we've been going. That's actually really good. That's going to help them a lot towards keeping themselves in the shelter whilst they are trying to get their job. So, that said, also I want to give Arachne Zero a good luck on their next job interview as well. Now go on, Skylar. Sorry.
I was going to say, that's pretty awesome. Meanwhile, I was supposed to go to groceries shopping, but now the store is closed because I sat here all day. All this time.
Skylar! You... God damn it, child.
But hey. There's probably food somewhere at home, I think. Maybe?
I mean, it's the same reason why I haven't slept.
Excuse me?
I don't know. Maybe there might be another store open. I might just have to deal with it until tomorrow. I might just... I don't know. I'll figure something out. Maybe Subway's open.
Ooh,
I've
got to get that $5 footlong.
Oh, do I have enough money to afford Subway? Hold on.
$5.
I'm doing a heckin' concern. Do I have enough money to afford food? I have enough money to afford food. Yes. Okay. Cool. That's the thing that I'll do. It might be Subway.
Also, I love how the entire 10-minute video was essentially a 10-minute long self-congratulatory video.
Yes, that's. Doesn't the Bible have a whole thing about being humble and the meek inheriting the earth? Oh, right, the Sermon on the Mount.
See, that's great to consider and all, but he very clearly takes after his mentor and is a serial narcissist.
I too would be a narcissist if I had some cereal. I would be a heckin' proud of myself.
Skip the cereal and just get the 40-pound bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows.
You take the 40-pound bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows, you toss them into a baking pan, you put them in the oven, and you press it on for 475 degrees, and you walk away. You will come back to an explosion.
I want to bake muffins, but
How would you blow them up?
What do Lucky Charms taste like?
Lucky Charms taste like suicide by sugar.
They taste like Irish.
Yes. There was I had a stream on my channel once where the first thing Bionic Dance said when she came in was, "Is Cirrus eating Cocoa Puffs?"
Honey Puffs are better.
This is a long
I want
time
the
ago.
record to show that I think that Honey Puffs are the best cereal. Let the record show that.
Let the record show that Cocoa Pebbles are the best cereal, hands down.
No, Bugs and Mud are. And they don't even sell them anymore.
They don't sell, and we don't have those.
Oh my
at all.
god, Bugs and Mud, yes.
They were so good!
You are all wrong. I'm disappointed in all of you.
I'm gonna be honest, Skylar, Honey Puffs is one cereal I absolutely cannot stand.
It sounds like you're objectively wrong.
Well, facts don't care about your feelings, and
my feelings can't care about your facts.
That's Matt Powell for you.
Very clearly, Captain Crunch is the best cereal of them all. Facts don't care about your feelings, okay, folks?
Okay, Shapiro.
Captain Crunch taste like?
Next, you're gonna tell me that drag worker is like 4'2" and yells at people at college campuses.
Hey, I can't control my height. It's, life's unfair. And facts don't care about my feelings either.
Honey Monster Sugar Puffs.
I would love to be an NBA player, but instead,
Wait,
go around and
Honey
find
Monster Sugar Puffs? That is not what those things are called here. That is not. Oh no.
Those are the ones I'm talking about at the very least, and they are tasty as hell. I love them. I haven't eaten them in ages, however, because I'm fat enough as it is.
To be fair, to Matt Powell anyway, if you win a debate, you should feel like you would, you should feel good about winning a debate, even if you won it in a shitty fashion.
This is what that cereal is here in the States. It is not that abomination that you showed. It is this, sir. Here you go.
Okay.
This is the objectively correct viewpoint.
That's... What the fuck is that? hey, serious, listen. If I don't get nightmares from my cereal, then there's something wrong with that cereal.
If the cereal doesn't make you question the fabric of reality, are you even having breakfast?
Takes a bite of sandwich. Takes a bite of sandwich, and that's how the theory of relativity was created. Like Einstein just sat down and took a bite from his sandwich. And was like, "Oh my god, reality is alive."
He took a bite from the sandwich and just went, relativity. Is Bart Bride says, is bacon wrong? No, actually, in all situations when you are asked what is the correct answer to the question, the correct answer is always going to be bacon. If your tutor says that you're wrong, give them a piece of bacon and ask them if you're wrong again. And if they say that you're still wrong, then just slip them a 20 or something.
Oh my god.
No, that's when you bring out the hidden puppy. No one says no to a puppy.
Dogs are the best. Literally better than any human being. Like, dogs are objectively better than humans.
I can't disagree with that statement, and I don't know how to feel. Also,
I think
I just go talk at once.
Frosted Flakes are pretty dope.
No, Jack. We don't want to speak.
Frosted Flakes are more than good.
They are pretty good.
I only came on to say the Honey Monster's catchphrase. It's like, tell them about the honey, mommy.
What?
I want to make a meme now out of the Frosted Flake mascot, but like replacing with Idol to be like, hey, that's pretty good.
I just got a list. Of individuals that this person hates and despises, who are brain dead, slur, and should be wiped off the planet. This was sent to me in a private thing. Group of people that should be wiped off the planet. Apparently, this is a long list.
Okay, let's see. So,
Does it come there first?
I can agree with that one.
See,
Holy shit, that's a long list.
SJWs, cultural Marxists, classical Marxists, PC culture activists, religious fundamentalists, Catholic preachers, Islamic terrorists, anti-vaxxers, flat earthers, green politicians, Socialist, communists, and fascist. Okay, so the only thing that you think is right is capitalism. Gotcha. You're the reason I can't afford healthcare.
Can I mention that when it comes to socialist, nobody can really seem to agree what socialist actually means. So
workers controlling the means of production.
That's like one way. Like I've seen a lot of people have many different interpretations on socialist and what counts as socialist and not. For example, some people think Sweden is socialist.
Sweden's socio-capitalist, isn't it?
I think at least it's at the very least a more accurate description. However, I think that most Swedish politicians and like other Scandinavian politicians agree that the Scandinavian countries are still capitalist.
See, sexists, racists, homophobes, heterosexists, placebo pseudo-doctors, pedophiles, pedophile advocates, Jehovah's Witness members, Westboro Baptist Church members. So wait, you're saying that Telltale, who is a friend of mine, because he was at one point a Jehovah's Witness during that time, deserved to be wiped off the face of the planet. Okay.
Obviously.
Rapists, murderers, you're going to have to define murder. That's murky territory. Black Lives Matter members, no, you can't do. That's called hasty generalization. You can't literally grab everybody in that group and say that they are all problematic. Yes, there are people who have advocated for BLM who are problematic. However, not everybody who does is problematic. KKK members, pro-nationalist, anti-abortion people, and pro-lifers, corrupt EU politicians, anti-gun people, neo-Nazis, Nazis, National Socialists.
Sorry.
Yes.
Pro-natalists, not pro-nationalists. Pro-natalists.
What does it say?
Pro-natalists.
Oh, pro-natalists. Pro-natalist. Okay, yes. Nationalists are lower on the list here. So
This is
a very psychopathic list.
look in voice chat text. Drag. Anti-cannabis people, Vatican bishops and priests, misogynist, misandrist, third wave feminist. You're saying every third and fourth wave feminist needs to be wiped off the planet?
Wait. There's a fourth wave?
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest. I very much like Vosh. I really would prefer you not wipe him off the planet. Anyway, radical feminists, veganists. I really like my friend Cosmological. I'd like you to not wipe him off the planet. Anti-porn people. I like my friend Jim Hall. Please don't wipe him off the planet. Anti-prostitution people, anti-birth control people, alt-right people, alt-left people, Antifa members. Oh my god, it keeps going!
Wait, you can't mention lower down is like snowflakes, and I feel like somebody who types this kind of list out of people they want to die
is a like if you type out a list of people that you want to be wiped off the face of the planet, sorry, you deserve the term snowflake more than anyone else because these people's mere existence is an affront to you.
Yeah,
agreed.
I feel like people shouldn't die. That's a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good position to have. Even if they're bad people, who shouldn't die.
Like,
lock them up.
Let's see here. Radical globalists, collectivists, subjectivists, moralists, Adam Waffen members, elitists, authoritarians and totalitarianisms, advocates of democracy. What? Theocrats, fundamentalists, moral absolutists, postmodernists, anti-consumerists. Okay, so this is just like the only thing this person is okay with is a capitalist. Then, white supremacists, black supremacists, white nationalists, black nationalists, ethnic nationalists, statists, agrarianists, people against urbanization, protectionists, Holocaust deniers, advocates of illegal immigration, supporters of religious democracy, supporters of Christian democracy, supporters of Islamic democracy, identitarians, snowflakes. Again, sorry if you're writing this list, you deserve snowflake more than anyone else. Freeloaders, please define freeloader. That's a very poorly defined term. Advocates of affirmative action. What? Imperialists, NPCs, again, you're gonna have to get out of the like right wing memes and just please define that. Radical theists, radical deists. Are there radical deists? I wasn't aware. Pseudo intellectuals. I think I actually fall into that category, so I guess I gotta die.
Yeah.
Idiots and imbeciles in general. Oh yeah, no, I actually am an idiot and an imbecile, so yes, I guess I gotta go die now!
I mean, so is the person who wrote this list, though.
So,
bye guys, I gotta kill myself.
Can we just point out
how don't you do it?
Is identitarians? And by creating a list of identities that you dislike, I'm pretty sure you fit the category of now being an identitarian.
Yeah, fair. Also, I would like to point out something. there's no furries on his list, so I'm safe.
What is it? Oh, wait, how? Okay, I'm actually surprised somebody would type this list out but not have furries on it. I'm actually surprised by that because so many fucking dumb meme things. Veganists! Oh,
Yeah.
like, I feel
Don't you know that if you only want to eat plants and no animal products, that's just worthy of death?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, he might put vegans and veganists into two separate categories.
Okay.
That's fair. You know, maybe veganist solely refers to the people who sit there and they're just like, I just feel so good when I eat all this food, and you're just, by supporting the animal industry, you're supporting murder.
No, I think by veganist he thinks people who force veganism on others.
I feel like
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some people who try doing that, but I guess by that cosmological would not be a veganist. But again, it's a very that's a very loose and poorly defined term. You would need to actually point out what you meant by this term. But I think by making this list, you've created a huge problem.
By making it
identitarian. The first fault of this list is just the fact that it's a list of people that certain things should die. I feel like just a list of people who think people should die is just pretty bad in general. And then we just add a bunch of big identities to it, which is even dumb.
Like again, like I think I heard this was a DM sent to me just like 10 minutes ago.
On
what?
On Discord, a DM that was sent to me on Discord, and it says I'm not going to link to their name because I don't want anybody like jumping on them.
Yeah, no problem.
But here for lay context, let's where did it go? Here we go. Screenshot 1. For lay context, I'm not kidding about what they said about how they think that this should start.
Okay. So.
And for the stream, for the people in the stream, right there, list of groups and individuals I hate and despise who are brain dead and should be wiped off the planet. I'm not going to say the R slur because I have no reason to. I gain nothing from it. But yeah,
this was a DM sent to you on
this was a
Discord?
DM. This was a DM on Discord.
I feel like this is a copy pasta from Poll.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad this is. It could be taken straight from Poll and just... Oh, dear. Help you if you think this.
Wumbo just brought out a point on the voice chat text. Cirrus, how do we know all these people have an extra chromosome? That made me laugh in ways I shouldn't. That should not make me laugh.
Bad,
Yeah.
Cirrus. Bad.
You're gonna have to get punished.
Yes, I will have to be punished. That's okay though.
Oh, nice. I like Astro Frontier. Radical deists, founding fathers shredding on skateboards.
So, Cirrus, you need to leave your own stream.
I need to leave my own stream. But I just did like 2 seconds ago.
I'm taking over.
Wait, Dragon's taking over? Wait, no. Why?
Yeah, I'm joking. I'm not
Oh,
taking
dear.
over.
If anybody deserves to
Honestly,
take
okay, I'm going to be honest
mastermind
though.
laws.
It surprises
Yeah.
me that this person actually.
Sick church state separation, bro.
It surprises me that this person actually wrote pedophile, like that. I view it as the correct way to write pedophile. But I don't know. Some people say, oh, it's different.
I'm okay with however they want to spell it. The only thing I'm not okay with is the fact that if you make a list like that, mayhap you have a couple of problems that need to be addressed.
Thinking that people should die is pretty fucked up.
Is that an understatement?
I mean, in some cases, like wanting some people to die, it's a natural response, but like also it's pretty fucked up.
So just like a random question, what the hell do they mean by NPCs? Do they mean like the
Okay,
gaming
so
term?
No, there's a term.
There was like a meme or something like going around about people who like don't. It was about how some people don't really think and just do automatic responses to like everything, and we call that an NPC, and it's sort of like become a kind of a meme or whatever to call a lot of people, like especially like the left-leaning people, like NPCs and such.
Yeah, it all started from a 4chan. I believe it was a 4chan post.
Like everything on the internet.
Yeah,
Right.
everything on the internet starts at 4chan. My Little Pony fandom starts at 4chan.
But it started from a post where some dude was basically just like, "Do you ever feel like you're the only person walking amongst the sea of NPC the same stupid shit?"
Why, Drake?
I need to draw this now.
Oh my god!
All I can say is that's no good.
Oh my god.
I did a bad thing. I did a bad thing.
I did a bad thing, and you're wondering what it is.
So is
Oh,
the
dear.
stream still going?
Oh, the stream is still going.
Not if I draw it first, you're not.
Ow, why am I hearing loud? Gosh, why? For those who were in the live chat but not in my Discord to see the voice chat text for context, apparently someone has just linked Surus be like, and let me show you what I apparently be like. Let's see. So,
Jesus Christ.
for those who were in the live stream, apparently Surus be like this.
Wait, that's cool.
I'm sorry to ruin your service.
Can I just mention, I love the fact that the left leg looks kind of like a dong if you don't look close.
Oh.
You did a bad thing. I'm not wondering what it is.
Do we ever do good things in this place? at all?
No, this server is a place where dreams go to die.
I read in the Bible that if I sin, I will go to hell. I think I died and just appeared here.
Okay. I will just put this here.
Yes.
I'm.
Sunshine.
Ah, yes, my beautiful creation.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Hello, my child.
This is original OC, do not steal.
Original
good.
character Donut Steal. I wonder what happens if I throw that. Oh my gosh! If I throw that into here, it just. Yes, it just. You know what, Darth Vader, you're going right there. It's gonna be fine. There we go.
I have all the memes.
It's
okay,
perfect.
Okay, Emmett, I still haven't forgiven you for making a fucking caramel dancing meme when I took me years to get that song. Do you understand how much that song is played has been played in Sweden?
You know what, Skylas? You know what? Get over it.
Emmett, I hope you realize you single-handedly made me 12 years old again.
Yeah.
And you know what
You're welcome.
Now the real question is, should you blame Emmett for creating it, or should you blame me for requesting it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, you requested
You're both at fault.
It was for April Fools, and on April Fools, my channel is a place of madness. For those who have been watching me from year one, the first April Fools video that I did is an absolute clusterfuck of madness.
Okay, serious. Die?
No.
Yeah, so you say Skylost, it wasn't me just going, I'm gonna be an asshole. No. This was requested bullshittery.
I mean, here's the thing. If someone requests you to be an asshole and you comply, then you're still an asshole.
You're complicit in the assholery.
Yeah, you facilitated it.
This does bring up the question: What if I were to play this?
Yes.
If anybody's looking at the actual live stream feed, you know what I see.
I'll ban you from existence.
You'll ban me from existence.
Play it.
Exactly.
I
I
will-
know people.
I will have to commit not alive.
Go commit die.
Okay.
Several Sudoku.
So the first thing we have to ask is Arachne Zero. Where are we sitting at on donations? Last time that we checked, we were at 375. Where are we sitting at on those right now? For those who are tuning in now, this is a stream in order to help Arachne, who is a user on the Discord who is currently homeless. So, whilst we are trying to figure out how much we are sitting at, allow me to serenade you with absolute madness.
You're giving me
But like, Wumbo, we've seen what you draw.
I stand by that statement. I'm a good person. I don't deserve this.
You're a lovely person, boy.
We're just gonna have that. Arachne says that we are currently over $400. You okay?
We've broken him.
How about
We
now?
broke the Swede.
Yep.
Dansa med oss, klappa era händer. Missa inte
Okay.
Are you alive?
Until he fixes himself, I have muted him.
Oh god.
Broke the Swede.
Ray says you're not putting yourself in a good position here, Cirrus. I think I'm in a perfect position.
I'm sorry I ruined your stream.
Okay. Is now... Oh my gosh, he's still broken!
Oh, he'll be broken for the next hour or so. You don't realize what you've done.
At least 3 hours. I know from experience.
I mean, I was broken as the moment I was born. The moment I was born, I was dropped. That was.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like, okay. So, this is actually a pretty funny story. My mom was trying to birth me, and I wouldn't come out. And the doctors were like, oh yeah, he's not coming out. So we forced her to stand up. And the moment she stood up, I was born. So I fell towards the ground. They caught me? I wanted to make that clear. They did catch me, but...
How do I respond to that?
Wish I'd been sitting down through that one.
I was being dropped as I was born. That's
Juan Pablo says that's caramel dancing. Yes, yes it is.
Caramel.
It
They even say it in the song. It's fucking caramel.
You know what?
It's pronounced
Fuck
caramel.
you.
It's pronounced caramel.
So we're all wrong. Deal with it.
It's
Yeah, but
caramel.
Cirrus is extra wrong.
I will throw him.
Deal with it.
Here's the thing, I'm right because I'm Swedish, so I actually know what we're singing.
No, that just means you have a bias.
No,
Yeah.
I literally hear how they pronounce caramel.
Guys, I'm confused here.
Caramel dancing.
So, if you guys are seeing on the stream, I have a video suggestion. I don't know if I should be clicking that video suggestion.
What? Let's see. Panic.
It is the video suggestion that was suggested to me was the video that we are currently participating in.
What?
So now we have a stream in a stream, guys.
Oh my god.
Go deeper.
Don't do this to us.
You know what it means? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, guys, look. At the end, you can see the stream within a stream within a stream.
We need to go deeper.
Stop coming at it, won't stop coming at it, won't stop coming.
Wait a minute,
Wait, yeah,
guys.
we've broken.
I can see the stream within the stream within the stream now.
You can
Wait,
sit
you know
down.
what?
We need to go deeper.
You know what you need to do now? You also need to add like a Smash Mouth All Star to the stream as well. This is Smash Mouth Infinity.
Guys, the only reason I can tell that I can see the 5th layer of the stream is because I can see Emmett's dancing Darth Vader. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I only see 4.
Make it bigger. We need to go deeper.
No, I see the 5th now. I see the 5th.
I'll
Make
take
it
you
bigger.
deeper, Daddy.
Oh god.
You want to go deeper?
If you make it bigger, it will tunnel. Wait. Wait a minute. So if we do this,
Oh,
is it?
why?
Is it deeper?
Why?
Is it deep enough? Is
Never deep enough.
Now it functionally looks like we're just on the same stream, but it's delayed. Oh my gosh. It's going to continue. Wait a minute.
Let's go deeper.
Wait.
No.
Is it It's going to be an infinite loop. It's just going deeper. What the fuck?
We've got too deep.
Can you show me?
What
Back up.
has science done?
Okay, there's one small detail, and that is, the resolution.
The resolution just gets worse.
Let's see how long it takes until we can.
Oh my gosh! It just keeps getting worse. What is going on?
It keeps on coming and it won't stop coming and it won't
It
stop.
will never stop.
So retarded.
Can you show me how to
My
guide
abs
it
hurt. My abs
in the
hurt.
real way? And I know that we can go deep
What?
in the real way.
Arachne says, "I'm glad my shitty life situation has spawned this." Oh my gosh.
Okay, so yeah, this is a good life.
Oh, God.
Wait, is it really? It's zooming in a little more each time.
Yeah.
It's getting just slightly worse. How long? Oh God! Why?
I'm sorry.
Eventually, it'll just become a single pixel.
I'm seriously sorry.
And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
It won't stop
Actually,
coming.
you know what?
God.
I recant my statement. I'm not sorry. I'm amused.
Ooh, what to say? This is pretty good.
Just need an ab workout for the day. Holy shit.
Oh my God! Arachne Zero just said, "At the end of the JPEG compression is a weapon to surpass Metal Gear."
This is the peak of German engineering. This is German engineering.
This is excellent German science. German science is the best science.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a JoJo reference.
Has anybody counted how many layers deep we are at this point?
Was that the
No.
Wait, was that a motherfucking JoJo reference?
Yes, it was. Pure Austin's pure extension. What level are we on?
Every.
I've been thinking about watching JoJo
Oh,
just
God.
so I can understand why everything is a JoJo.
It's not Metal Gear. It's nanomachines, Otacon.
Oh God, I just remember something.
It's so hard to see anything anymore. It's so bad.
And you're in too deep, and I'm trying to keep all the blood
we
in
just
my
need to go a
head
few.
instead of going under.
Guys, we just need to go a few layers deeper, and then we have a.
Wait,
and-
we have a what? Did the government shut you off?
I said
They
that
got him, guys.
I said that we only need to go a few layers deeper, then we have the phone.
Okay, just so everybody knows, I am opening the stream up to a 10 user limit now because we have to go deeper.
Yeah.
At this point,
Imagine
everything
that-
Oh,
is
sweet
blur on the
Jesus.
actual live stream.
Imagine, I'm just saying, imagine the echo the stream would have if you like didn't mute.
Oh,
you would
gosh.
unmute it on your end.
Oh, Aaron joined.
Like
Hi, Aaron.
unmute your stream for like 10 seconds just to see what would happen.
It Astral Frontier Caramelception. It has to go deeper.
I see an Aaron has joined the stream. Oh, hi there.
This is a very weird
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I attempted the Sonic drawing and then I realized I don't know what Sonic looks like.
Wait, really?
Besides like the quills, and then I was like, there's like body like shapes and
posted an
shit. I'm
image
like, I don't
earlier,
fucking,
you
like,
can
I don't know, his mouth works. So I gave up.
I posted an
You're
image in
straight
voice
right
chat
now.
text. You can use that.
The pixels.
Oh
Do
my
we have any
God.
more of them?
No, it looks like your eyes are bleeding.
It's we're getting to like 1 pixel on screen right now.
The JPEG compression. It's dying.
2005 YouTube quality. This is my new religion.
Hello.
Hey, Ray.
Hello.
Hey, Ray.
Hello.
This
I'm
is.
covering quesosexual.
I hear that Ray is here. How are you doing, Ray?
I'm doing pretty swell.
Awesome. So are you currently viewing the madness?
I was.
This is.
This is
a monstrosity.
I have ran out of laugh. I'm literally empty.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh! Look at Arachne's avatar now because of the compression.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna see that in my nightmares.
I like how blue everything is.
Oh my gosh!
I am not out of laugh. I found more.
And the weather is still dancing.
Let me guess. Your home. It was. And it was beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
I want to save this video clip so I can actually make that a fan of the meme. Just fucking move the green screen of the fucking scene. Just be like, it was beautiful. I just cut into this.
So I'm just gonna point out that is it pronounced Triatiel?
Triatail.
Okay.
But just Tria's cool. I realize it's a mouthful.
I've been seeing in the chat how you've been regretting life choices.
Yes, that's actually why I specifically jumped in here. It's like every stream. How do you make me regret my life choices?
He exists before he makes you regret.
You see, that's a special talent.
I'm sorry, Triatel. This was my fault because I linked the weather and then I linked
No, it's not your
Sorry,
fault. It's sources
can't.
because every
Have
stream
you seen what's
I
going
regret
on?
my life choices.
I just want to, like, I have something important to say.
It is slowly becoming a
Oh no, here we go again.
Okay, so currently, we have corrupted the citizens.
No, Triatel.
Even corrupt
It's not
Currently,
corrupted.
This is why bedrock
Can't
is
you
a thing,
post it in
because
the
eventually you need to stop going so deep.
Hey, but you could get you could.
No, this is why
When you
creative
get
mode
better,
exists, so
you
you can go.
So how long before the live stream actually breaks?
I don't know.
I think we already have.
I'm still
Let's find out.
No,
I can't
technically
do
it
it.
hasn't.
Broken.
It's still going, so
I'm still-
technically it hasn't broken.
I'm still a strong advocate of the idea of Suris unmuting the live stream, and so we can just hear the infinite echo.
Oh no!
It looks like a color block.
It's so broken. It's so
Like
broken.
you.
It's an allegory for my life.
Did not.
It's so blue.
No. Serious.
Yes.
This stream is in honor of Arachne.
Yes.
This is an allegory for her life.
Oh no!
Oh god.
Oh.
I think I should be offended.
Sorry.
This is where creepypastas are spawned from. Congrats, you created your first channel creepypasta.
Ray says, "Wait, are we ever going to stop?"
No.
No.
We've
no
gone
way.
too deep. We've gone too deep.
We don't have enough fuel to get back up.
We're not going to stop until everything says on single.
It's live now. You're still doing it. It's lost the fact of trying to help Arachne. It's lost coherency now. And that said, Arachne, do we have any other donations that have come in? Where are we sitting right now? Now that we are currently, now that there is no going back.
I mean, I donate money to this.
Aaron, do you need help out? No?
How did you...
We're about down to 1 pixel. We're almost to 1 pixel left for this whole image.
I would buy this.
This image needs more pixels. Arachne says very fittingly, we have reached 420.
I want it to be on record that
Oh dear Lord, what has happened?
I would support this on Blu-ray. I would buy this on Blu-ray.
You would buy this on Blu-ray?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut just this portion out and just make this its own video.
Yeah.
Please do, that would be beautiful.
Please do. I will link it to all my friends, and they can hear me destroy the stream.
The title of the video, we need to go deep.
Sam N says, "Oh my god." Tulpa says, "Use this video as a background." I could totally use this video as a motion background.
Yeah.
You look like a thumb in the video now.
That's a wonderful decision. I support.
Yeah, from here on out, this has to be the background of your debunk videos.
Oh no, I should never have full screened that. I have created a monster. If anybody is still around and has not donated to Arachne, now that we have accurately portrayed an allegory for her life, we need... Oh boy. I need help. Please help.
There is no
help
help
and I
for
need a
you,
nap.
Saurus.
Why is there no help? I need help.
There is no help.
Please.
I would say I can help, but I can't do much besides lewds, so that probably isn't a lot of help.
Ludes doesn't help.
Oh,
Ludes always help.
Can I mention a funny thing?
Listen to Ray.
It's so compressed that if you would put a not safe for work image on the screen, it wouldn't recognize as a not safe.
It couldn't tell. It just couldn't tell. Okay.
Time
all right.
to put up longbow
Are you
art.
gonna revert it?
Alright guys,
Yeah.
go.
I do.
Are we
Okay.
done?
I do have to stop that madness because we did get a fan art submission.
Well,
That's
With
fine.
me.
We're saved.
There's a fan art submission that has saved us from this madness.
This is what pixels
Oh, wow.
look like.
What's the?
Oh wow.
My head doesn't hurt anymore.
Okay.
Nothing
We
hurts
solved.
anymore.
Nothing hurts anymore. Okay, so apparently we now have Sonic the Hedgehog dressed in my avatar's outfit.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh no!
So yeah, that's a thing.
It's beautiful.
Hey, that's cool.
You know that you are using famous
Gotta go.
fan art.
Gotta go deep.
Oh, it's Sonic.
So serious. I
How
guess
beautiful.
this is your Sonic Sona now.
Apparently so. Sonic the Skeptic.
That's
Sonic-
gotta be some kind of rule of the internet, right?
Sonic the Skeptic says evolutionism is no good.
Wait, you know what you should do? Wait. You know, the next April Fool's video, just do a completely regular video, except that your avatar is like this Sonic character instead, and like
Just my character is unironically Sonic.
Yeah, like you talk like Sonic, throughout the video, but the video is completely serious. Besides that,
You never
The video,
actually
like,
bring
what-
attention to it. It's just there.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Just Yeah, we've gone back to reality. We've only gone back to reality because I've permitted it to be so.
Wait,
Yeah,
reality
Oh,
is
there
fake.
goes gravity.
God dang it! Sonic bludgeons Cirrus unconscious with his own hammer and steal his clothes. Yes,
It's an illusion.
that is the canon. Also, remember, so we have the hammer. It's this way, right? Yes. But thanks to Sloth Girl Slowly, we also have the hammer, and this one's at least slightly more accurate to the current situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a micro penis joke.
Oh my god.
We all got that.
My life is a joke.
Gotta debunk fast. Okay, so because this stream is for Arachne and we have hit the $420 mark, Arachne Zero does say if you're Sonic, you have to say my favorite Sonic line. That's fine, I'll do it. I've never lost my virginity because I never lose.
Oh my god.
My favorite Sonic games.
That is
I would laugh.
iconic, revolutionary.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I've probably got one of the most.
Alone on a Friday night? Jeez, you're pathetic.
What's
That,
Oh.
that reminds me of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 4-Kids dub for the drug
For
commercial.
everything.
There's no. There's no.
Oh,
Something is seriously wrong with all of you people.
I need. We have reached full skeptic.
No.
Full skeptic.
We do not. I do not endorse any of this.
Wait, Sonic the Skeptic can duel Christian Sonic memes Sonic.
Oh no.
Oh yes! No, it must be a thing. Sonic the Skeptic against Christian Sonic with dual discs.
Okay.
They're gonna duel each other. They're gonna duel it.
No, it's time to do debate.
Oh my gosh, no.
If we continue this, I'm gonna forget how to English.
I'm gonna forget how to speak words.
Ne, še vedno bom lahko govoril slovensko, samo angleško ne bom več govoriti.
Oh gosh, he's speaking in tongues.
Other languages exist, Cirrus.
One day, you wake up one day and just check Cirrus's channel and just see everything's just replaced with like Sonic the Skeptic, and then just to see a video just uploading. I'm a furry now.
Oh no.
Arachne Zero
Wait, what do you
says
mean now?
Sonic's one and only spell card is a personal relationship with Christ. This needs to be a fan fiction. If it's a fan fiction, though, we will have gone way too deep.
But wait, do you believe in the heart of the Christ?
Oh my
And then he played Monster Reborn on himself on the third day. That's the story of Easter, folks. Satan tried to take over the world, and Jesus used solemn judgment.
But what happened then? He played Pot of Greed, but what does it do?
Hey guys, what does Pot of Greed do? Oh my gosh. There's no such thing as too deep. Oh my gosh. I need help. I'm gonna die.
There's no help for you.
There
There's
really
no help
isn't.
for any of us.
Anytime you say too deep, I have to resist the urge to make a dick joke, and I hope you can appreciate that.
Just make the dick joke on mute.
Take me deeper, Daddy.
I activate Pot of Greed. It causes me to draw more fan art. Wait, that's not how that works. We've already gone way too deep. We're immune to such madness now.
You're talking about Pot of Weed, not Pot of Greed.
We're approaching the eldritch.
Aaron has already started the fanfic.
I'm playing the spell card, Pot of Weed. Now we start a serious live stream.
Way too
My
bad.
God.
I haven't written anything in so long.
So Jack was like,
I'm supposed to be writing right now. Instead, I'm in chaos.
I'm supposed to be coding,
Look-
but yeah.
Chaos is more fun.
It's
There's multiple
so
forms
wait.
of chaos.
If
Which
we're
one? What number?
if we're in if we're dealing with Sonic the Skeptic now, so we're dealing with Chaos Emeralds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we've got control of the chaos, does that mean that we can teleport?
No.
Teleports behind you.
But
Nothing personal, kiddo.
teleports behind you. Delete this.
Me anytime I post something.
Oh, God.
Wait, I was thinking. Wait, there are 6 Chaos Emeralds, right?
No, 7.
Oh,
7, okay.
Oh, please, do you guys know about the Tails versus Sephiroth voiceover?
What?
Wait, what?
Oh, I am linking this in voice chat text. You have to listen to it. It is the most beautiful thing in the universe.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was the most beautiful thing in this universe.
You are.
I'm sorry, Wanda.
It's okay.
No, you know what I'm gonna have to do after this? I'm gonna have to boot up Sonic Adventure 2. You've done this.
I could do that right now. My GameCube is right here. I could be playing it this entire time rather than listening to this bullshit.
Wumbo. I hope you're looking at the live stream because you're not the only one whose GameCube is right here. I didn't even have to move.
My controller is within arm's reach at all times. Fuck you. Mine's actually plugged in.
Ha! I don't even have arms.
Yeah, but now my question for you guys is wait a second. I just need to this. Have you guys Tetris?
Tetris 99. Oh gosh.
I can't play Tetris because I get such tunnel vision that like I'll sit there for 5 hours.
That sounds like a perfect reason to play Tetris.
Well, I have things to do and like taxes to pay.
Nah.
Taxes are
So play
gay.
Tetris.
I have to adult.
Taxes are gay. Don't do them.
Well, I'm gay.
Well,
Well.
don't do.
Hi, gay. I'm dead.
yourself? Oh my
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
You
I'm
finally
dead.
came back.
Hey, Daddy.
You're back.
Back from Canada.
My girlfriend who lives in Canada.
Relic, I'm sorry for this. Choke me, Daddy.
Oof.
Who is choking me? What? Am I consenting to it? Like, what are we talking about?
My favorite
Sans
YouTuber,
Da-da-da-da.
Daddy05.
Sweet Jesus.
I feel like Jesus would be salty
Wait,
if anything.
why is lightning coming out of Tails' arms? Oh no.
Because raisins?
I don't think that raisins can account for any of this.
Why not?
They're not grape raisins at all.
Are you listening to the Tails versus Sephiroth?
Oh.
Well, as you
Okay,
know,
I started up Tetris as a joke, but now I'm actually.
Now you're just gonna play Tetris.
Yeah, I
This
love
is-
Tetris.
Oh gosh, okay.
well, as you know, I'm a vintner. I actually do have grape raisins.
Huh.
Yeah.
Game Sphere.
Wait,
On that note,
there's
I'm
on-
going to head off.
There's only one thing I can say before you leave. So Sephiroth misspelled your?
Yeah.
Don't at me.
Are you heading? Where are you heading, Emmett?
Back to bed. I'm tired.
Oh.
Wait, what time is it over there?
It's 7:55 a.m. I literally woke up and joined this call.
Oh, I was like, please tell me you slept. Like you haven't.
Oh no, I did sleep.
Hey, Emmet.
Yes.
Snålar, det klappar dina händer, gör som vi
Skylas, die.
Emmet, you are the one who brought it back. This is all on you. Love you too.
You're right. Adios.
Okay, I have to post this now.
Oh dear.
I made it as a joy.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just
It's just Emmet.
Yeah, it's just Emmet.
Oh boy. Okay, so Arachne, where are we sitting at right now? Because I think we are going to go ahead and end the stream here in a minute or two.
Please end my suffering.
So as soon as we can get it continue. Let me see here. Are you just linking GIFs of every single one of us?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah?
We need one with Ripley in there.
No, why would I do that?
Okay. So, over the course of the stream, we have managed to pull in we've managed to pull in $420 for Arachne, which is more than they had at the beginning. So, there is that. Ideally, that will help out in making sure that everything gets figured out with their situation. That said, I am going to go ahead and get us cut off here, at least live. I'll probably still be in here for a little bit because why not continue the chaos? It'll just be continued chaos off air.
Chaos.
Insert end video tagline here.
No, you can't beat it. You can't beat me to it. That's it. Everybody who stayed out for the entirety of the stream or even portions of the stream, thank you for tuning in. I know that there are parts where it may have delved into absolute madness. Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry for that.
No.
Yes. Sorry.
Thank you guys for popping out. Thank you guys for donating to Arachne and helping them with their situation. It really sucks whenever any of us get stuck in a situation like this. So hopefully we were able to help out a little bit with that. So
I fucked up.
Why? What did you do?
Okay, so I was playing Tetris and I accidentally placed a thing wrong, and now I'll probably be murdered by the blocks.
Yeah.
This gives me flashbacks to when I used to play Minecraft. The blocks just murdering me again.
Oh dear.
Tetris is 2D
If we're no
Minecraft.
longer live, do we want to move to
Yes.
Aaron is asking